travel to Colombia to fly to what? Hundreds. Wow, that's wild. Okay, we got two big topics. We got my man Santana rolling through. What's going on, fam? Good to see you, bro. I would love to hear what you think about this. We got Iskander in the house. Okay, we are so tired of this, man. So they go into these countries and ruin them and then get mad about it. Yeah, we're just getting started. We're going to bring folks up here in 1 second. Iskander, stay with me. We're gonna get you here in 1 second. Okay, absolutely. When you get home, come on back, bro. Come on back or stay in if you can, because I'd love to hear your thoughts. Argentinian president launched Abraham Accords. Oh, really? I did not know the Isaac Accords. Oh, okay. Not happy. Chivia, how are you? Happy Sailor. Yes, good to see you. We're talking about Donald Trump promises to close the border to third world countries. Venezuelan airspace has just got closed. He said, hey, the airspace above Venezuela is now closed. What are your thoughts? Iskander, stay with me. I'm doing okay, Happy Sailor. How are you, fam? Always good to see you. Oh, Susu. Uh-oh. I might have to close the live, y'all. Susu just coming in here like that. Shit, y'all better watch it. Did Pally not come in? Oh, shit. Okay. We got the gang. We got the class of 2023 reunion up in here, I see. Faith is in here. Oh, boy, I'm telling you, we got the class of 2023 reunion up in this live gang. All right, we're bringing up Iskander again in 1 minute, so stay with me, Iskander. Yo, we got the class of 2023. Invading Venezuela will not go the way the United States thinks it will. Yeah, I hear you on that. Class of 23. You like that, Nuka? You are. Old times. It is old times. Boy, where? Ooh-wee. Where I would scroll, be 50 comments in 1 second. 2,000 people in the live. Boy, it was wild. Immigration discussion. Please join the chat. We got AI. What's up, AI? All right, come on, Iskander. Come on up. I want to hear your thoughts. We might have my brother Santana come up. I would love to have that. Let's talk about what's going on here. Iskander, what are your thoughts? Donald Trump closes the border to third world countries and Venezuelan airspace closed. What do you think?
Well, I think that Trump is catering to his base. I was actually just last night / this morning hosting a live about fascism and how fears of a demographic shift motivate right-wing extremism. So the United States is set to become majority non-white by 2045. The evangelical church is declining in membership. Islam is the fastest growing religion. So with that being the case, what Trump is trying to do is say, oh no, our country's being replaced. It's not the United States anymore. It's becoming Americanistan. So what is he doing? He's quote unquote closing the borders to, as he calls them, third world countries. So that's, because immigration, and it's funny too, right? Because the birth rate's declining in the United States. So rather than forcing women to have more children, which is what the Republican Party's solution to that issue is, right? Hence why they're opposition to abortion. What they want to do instead is they want to close off the border because it's like, well, wait a minute, immigration can supplant the...
Hold on real quick. Hold on. Curvy Chick from Brooklyn says, close all borders. Please feel free to request. We would love to have a respectful conversation with you, Curvy Chick from Brooklyn. So please feel free to request. We'd love to hear why you think the border should be closed. And you sounds like you support Donald Trump's statement on closing it to quote unquote third world countries. Go ahead, Iskander.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, well, you could supplement the declining birth rate with immigration, but no, that's not the Republican Party solution. The idea is that if you allow too many of them in, then it's going to shift the demographics of the United States. The United States will no longer be the United States. It's going to be something else. And they're petrified of a demographic shift, absolutely pissing their pants over it. So I find it ironic, to say the least. But then again, this is Trump's voting base. And as far as Venezuelan airspace being closed, I mean, the only reason, first off, we're talking about Latin America. Latin America actually has the highest homicide rates in the world, even more than the Middle East, believe it or not. And Anyway, with that
Oh,
being the case,
hold on, real quick. Sorry, Scanner. One more thing.
yeah.
Hold on, hold on. I just gotta say because this is so ironic. Curvy chick from Brooklyn, on my way to work like a real American. Well, Curvy chick. I just want to let you know that I'm doing this live from the company that I own. Go ahead, Scanner. Go ahead. Continue.
You're good. You're good. So yeah.
Go ahead.
Anyway, so the thing is, right? The only reason they care about Venezuela is because Venezuela is an OPEC nation. So, right, Organization for Petroleum Exporting Countries. Venezuela happens to be a member of OPEC. So naturally, the United States cares so much about Venezuela because they want the oil. As far as this rhetoric about, oh yeah, like just yesterday, Pete Hegseth posted on like all over social media that he's like, oh yeah, the Biden administration allowed for T's to operate. We unalive them. And I'm thinking, well, gee, when it comes down to fighting the cartels, militaristic approaches to fighting the cartels have been tried and tested for the last 50 plus years now. Hasn't
Mm-hmm.
gone over so well. I mean, at best you suppress the symptoms, but you never actually get to the root cause of the problem. The root cause of the problem is that DURG trafficking is profitable. So just
Mm,
legalize all DURGS. I mean, I thought we learned this back in the 20s with prohibition, right? The
mm,
18th Amendment, it was a disaster. So,
mm-hmm.
I mean, this is every time the government tries to ban a product or a service that people want, all that does is create a black market.
Raise the
So,
demand. Yes. No,
so,
absolutely, man.
and
Absolutely.
also another thing too, I'll leave you with this before I yield the mic to A Money. But the CIA has historically actually trained, armed, and equipped members of the cartels, like the Contras in Nicaragua, because organized criminals and communists tend to not jive, right? Because communists want
Mm,
to take all their wealth and redistribute it and so on. In fact, Pablo Escobar in Colombia had a group called Muerte a Secuestrados, which in English means death to kidnappers, because
yes,
FARC,
basically.
right? Yeah, Colombian communists kidnapped some of his
Mm-hmm.
guys who wanted to take their money. Uh,
Yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Now, thank you for that, Iskander. We're gonna do our first poll of the day. Then we're gonna go to A Money. But before we do our first poll of the day, do you agree with? If you do, put a one in the comments with Donald Trump's statement of closing the border to quote unquote third world countries. Do you agree with that statement? Put a one. If you do not, put a two. And then we'll talk about Venezuelan airspace being closed and the implications of both on immigration. A Money, your thoughts on this, fam? How are you?
I'm good. How are you, Smitty?
Good. What do you think? What do you think about what's going on? Annie, how are you, fam? Good morning.
Well, he wants to close the border to third world countries after what happened in DC with the shooting of the National Guards. That's why he made the statement. Which one? I think it's a false flag. And two, the guy is Afghan, and he worked alongside the military during the 20-year
2021,
war,
right? Mm-hmm.
right? So that doesn't make sense that they wanna. He wants to. He's a piece of shit, actually. By the way.
I know you don't always give me your true opinion. Go ahead.
Closing the borders to the third world country is it doesn't make sense to do it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they want to do it off the back of what happened in D.C., which doesn't make sense if it's one of your people.
Absolutely. This is how I feel. Some of y'all ain't gonna like this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Give me 1 second. I'm responding to Starlight. But here's how I feel. If we're going to make an entire group suffer or have to deal with the consequences of the Anthony, how are you? Thank you for coming in. For the actions of one, then are we still letting white T men in churches? Are we still letting white T men go into schools? Because aren't those the folks that tend to do the pew pewing in the schools? Are we still going to let them? Hell, I wouldn't even let them in the ocean. They got schools of fish, right? Like if we really going to make one group suffer for the actions of a few, then right? Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And also, they're not just people are not just gonna want to go after Afghan people because Afghan people, they're gonna think they're Muslim and they're gonna go after Muslim people. So they just want it to be back from 2001. What happened in
Mm-hmm.
September of
Mm-hmm.
2001? They want to go
Mm-hmm.
back to during those times where, because now in 2025, people are not scared of Muslims anymore. You know what I mean? Because now
Absolutely.
people know, like, it was the government that made them attack the Muslim people during that time, right?
Yep.
And I think they want to go back during that times because people aren't scared anymore.
No, I hear you. I feel you, money on that. I feel you on that. We got Aisha here in the House. Again, I am looking for opposition or debate. So feel free to request if you are. Go ahead, Fam. What do you think about this?
Okay, so yeah, so I believe that what happened on the, in DC, I'm in DC, but I believe it was a flash, what you call it,
False
a false
flag. False flag.
false flag event. And I'm saying that because the two people were and isn't real were they were looking up their names and his name on the internet. This is before before anything happened. They were looking out. They were checking his name out, right? Also, they did the same thing with CK. They did the same thing. So it's just the same playbook. What they're trying to do is get us to hate Muslims. They're trying to get us to hate Muslims like before, like when 9/11 happened, and it's not working. It's not working. We see you. And if Trump is going to close the borders to first of all, what is the third world country besides us? Because we get all of our resources from other countries. So if he's going to do that, so that means that we can't get the cobalt from Africa. We can't get the diamonds from Africa. We can't get the gold from Africa. We can't get the oil from Africa and other places. Does this stop any of that? Because if you're going to say I'm a third world country, which probably is mostly Africa, Venezuela,
Yeah, Latin America, Africa, Asia. Yep. Parts of
Asia,
Asia. Parts
some
of
parts
Asia.
of Asia. So are we? So that means that we're not going to get any of those things anymore that we need to survive.
Dang. Aisha coming in. Woo-wee. All right.
Third
You're not
world.
lying
I'm
though.
gonna land my plane here.
Go ahead.
Third world countries need to say, okay, so since we're the third world country, we're gonna keep our stuff because we need it since y'all the first world country. We need to go ahead and keep our stuff. So now you use your oil. Oh, you don't have enough. You use your gold. Oh, y'all don't have enough. You use your cobalt to engine up your iPhones. Oh, I forgot you don't have that. So this actually is a blessing to other countries to keep their stuff, like Burkina Faso, to keep their stuff in their country.
Okay. Okay. Let me do this, y'all. Let me do this, y'all. Again. Thank you, Icy Angeles. Igualmente, hermana. So let's do this again. If you agree, we got Donald J. Trump in the house. We got the president. Feel free to request. We'd love to hear your perspective. Just as long as we keep it respectful, we'd love to have a respectful discussion with you about either the statement of closing the border to quote unquote third world countries and or Venezuelan airspace being closed, a potential escalation in Venezuela with the prospects potentially of a conflict. It does. PNW. I caught that. So tap the screen. Please share out the live. Please support the live in any way that you can, any way that you feel comfortable. Konopolis says, about time we close borders to third world countries. Why is that? Konopolis? Would love to hear your perspective. Please feel free to request. Keep up the good work, advocacy, and teaching. Please appreciate you, Alex. Let's see here. Did you see what a Chinese immigrant tried to? I did not hear about that, Mr. Z's. But again, please feel free to request. Let's do another poll. If you agree with these actions from the president, put a 1 in the comments. If you do not, put a 2. We are looking for folks that disagree. We have 3 panelists who have a similar perspective to the host. So I don't want an echo chamber. I would love for you, if you disagree, if you feel like, hey, yeah, this is great. We got a lot of folks in the comments today.
I gotta come back, Smitty, but before I go, y'all,
Yes.
I know I'm not a mod, but there's 165 people in the room and only 5K taps. Are y'all crazy? Can we get the taps up to at least 30K? That's the bare minimum. Get him to at least 10K. That will put him on the FYP page, first and foremost. And the shares are only 19. Y'all slacking. Let's get the shares up to 300. And while you're at it, if you haven't joined his team, press the heart by his name and then press it again to claim the points to be counted to be a part of his team. So let's get the taps up to 30K. And when I come back, y'all better be at that mark.
Thank you, fam.
Please, always good to see you.
Oh, yeah, always
You too, Aisha. I love you, girl.
All right, we're gonna let you go. We're gonna drop you, and then Let's go to, oh, hold on for 1 second. Hold on. Let's bring somebody up. Give me 1 second. Rosca, how do you feel about what's going on with the third world countries in the border and Venezuela airspace being closed? What are your thoughts?
Thank you, man. I think maybe we don't know yet which countries. Like I could have sworn I saw a list or it mentioned like the number 13. Like there would be 13 countries. I got this impression from somewhere. I don't know where it was, but anybody else heard that?
I haven't heard that, but
because it's kind of be unspecific as like to which countries. But then I was doing a little. I didn't have much time. I only arrived here just recently.
Okay.
I did look at like there was like for historical reference, like Trump had already or was proposing bans to the U.S. From 36 countries back in the day. Like I'm looking at one NYT New York Times source here. Most of these are African countries, by the way. And then there's and then the other predominance is in the Caribbean, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, but mostly it's African. And then there's a few in Kyrgyzstan, for example, in southeast, well, in the south of Russia, kind of thing. As to the what happened here is, I mean, it's the MAGA policy, right? Is that there's concern about. This is just another reason why to evaluate who is being allowed into the country. And the concern, I think, hopefully at least, would be on like who is being let in, because this guy also, this Pew-Pewer, this guy was brought in under certain principles. He was brought in on a humanitarian basis, by the way, not another one. So he didn't have a green card or anything like that. So I think this is more a process of like evaluating and like a moratorium on immigration until such time as it can be evaluated that the people that are in the country are properly vetted. Plus, why bring in more? Because if you don't know the people that are vetted, they might be bringing in others or in collusion with others.
Well, when he got taken by the police, sir, he had a CIA badge on him. Okay, and he helped fight in Afghanistan with America, and he was properly vetted through the Trump administration. The problem is, first of all, if that's the case, then all of the white people here need to go back where they came from, because they're immigrants to this land, because Turtle Island was by indigenous people. So let's start there. The man was had a CIA badge on his body. He was working with the CIA in Afghanistan, and he was unaliving his own people. And this death to America, I saw somebody in the chat that said death to America. They're chanting death to America. Well, I would channel death to America too if somebody was unaliving my people, like Liberia, like Gaza, like Lebanon, like Syria. We go over to they killed 1 million Iraqis, so they're supposed to show love to us. They unalived Iraqi civilians, 1 million of them. So we're supposed to be like, you know what? That's manifest destiny, and it's some BS. Okay,
all right. Let me, Roscoe, what are your thoughts on what Aisha said? And by the way, before you jump in real quick, please continue to tap the screen and share out the live. Just be careful, fam, with the TikTok-friendly words. We got to keep it very TikTok-friendly. But again, please feel free to share out the live. Please support the live. We're at 10,000 likes. Let's get to 20K, as my sister Palinata just said. So please support the live if you can. Roscoe, what are your thoughts on what Aisha just said?
Well, I have a question for Aisha, because I was a little unclear. Like, Aisha, I have a question. I mean, just so I want to make sure that, are you talking about this DC Pew-Pewer, this one from Afghanistan? Or are you talking about somebody else? Like, I'm not sure. Because that's what I was talking about.
Yes, sir. Based on...
Yeah, so okay, we're talking about the same guy.
Yes. He had asked me a question, so I was trying to answer. So based on what media is saying,
when this first happened, like I was thinking that
the man asked me a question.
Hold on, y'all. So both of y'all talking at the same time. So
he asked me a question. I was answering it.
I mean, I thought my question was quite simple. Are we talking about the same person? Are you talking about this DC shooter, this Afghanistani guy?
Okay, but I'm saying the guy at
this
the
week.
bottom, the man at the bottom asked me a question, so I was answering his question.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
so
know who else
okay.
you were
According,
You
answering.
got a different
according
question.
to news media, according to the media, and they're saying that the man had a CIA badge on him. Not only did he have a CIA badge on him, he fought in Afghanistan. He asked me a question, and I was just answering it.
Okay. 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 All right. Let me go. No, go ahead, Roscoe. What do you think? Sounds like it's the same person.
Persons operating as translators with U.S. forces abroad, and also not just U.S. forces, other international forces from other countries, in order to interface because they don't have their own people be able to be able to talk with the local communities. So you need somebody who can speak both languages. I don't know how many of them did that, how well they did that. But this guy turns out that apparently now there's more data coming out that this guy was not just a translator, that he was actually in one of these called Zero groups, which were CIA based, funded Afghani forces. So this guy was actually a soldier and actually all involved in military operations, it seems. So he wasn't just a translator. Now, what makes this even worse then is because he was brought into the United States on the auspice of that, but he didn't apply on that. He came in on a humanitarian basis, which is a different application process.
Oh, that's interesting.
And he's been in the United States since 2021. And it's true that he was granted asylum. Yeah, interesting because it was a 2-year term, if I remember correctly, and then it could be extended of their
Right.
because they came in on like a special dispensation.
Okay. Let me ask you another. Real quick, Russell. Because I get what you're saying, and you're giving good context as to why this man came in. But let me ask you just a quick question, just in general about what Trump said, though. But do you believe it's good strategy to close the border entirely because of this situation? How do you feel about that? And then I want to let Iskander come back in. What do you think about that?
Yeah,
Logic behind it. What do you think?
I think it's a little overreached, and also because just the sheer amount of people that this requires vetting of is overreach. Mm-hmm. But that's not beyond means, and this is also like in Trump's principle. This has just reinforced the notion, as he had and for which he was elected, is that there are people in the United States who have not been vetted sufficiently. Mm-hmm. So this just gives it more cause to do that, because now there was this incident where 2 National Guardsmen, one young lady of 20 years, unalived, and then another one in critical care. I mean, they were not harming anybody. They were there, trying to provide public security. And so I mean, this kind of just reinforces the fact that these people need to be vetted. So in that sense, a moratorium on immigration because I mean he has also data. I mean whether he reads them or not, I don't know. But I mean Trump has access to all of what the CIA and the DHS and everybody else can produce. It's a tremendous amount of information. Like they know stuff, right? There are reports. It's not like the United States intelligence and security doesn't know, at least nominally, like who's in the country and what they might be doing and who should be prosecuted perhaps, or who is under suspicion or who is a little bit iffy. It's all there. So I think this is a par for the course.
Okay. All right. Let me go to Iskander. Iskander, your reaction to what Rose said, or if you want to come in with a new comment. And we are looking for folks, again, who want to talk about either both topic, who agree, disagree. Tia says he was very obviously vetted if we have this information.
Can I say something?
3 times. Yeah, let me let Iskander come in, and then I'll come up to you, fam.
That's okay. I guess I can go, and then I'll go after him.
Okay. That works for me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I went on to double check my sources. It says that about this particular man, the CIA has acknowledged, I cannot pronounce his name, I apologize, I think it's La Kanwal, has been part of the CIA-linked partner force in Canada before the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021. Let me see. I just want to make sure I have substance, and I'm getting this out of the different newspapers. It's saying that
Did you say Kandahar? Kandahar is in Africa. It's not in Afghanistan.
No, that's in Afghanistan.
that highlights risk tied to. Okay, hold on. Let me go to. I'm gonna go to. I want to make sure I'm getting the. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm getting the right information. It says that officials criticized the vetting process under Biden administration for allowing his entry, but the actual entry and the immigration status was under Trump. So if you would like to look at that information, you can, but it does say that he was a part. Let me see. It's called Operation. It's an operation that was going on in Afghanistan, and he was a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to get the. So it says apply for asylum December 2024. He was granted the asylum in April 2025. That was not under Biden. And the name of the operation that he was a part of, which he unalived his own people in Afghanistan, was called Operation Allies Welcome.
Okay. Now, thank you for that context, Aisha. Appreciate that. Iskander, what are your reactions to what anything you've heard by Aisha?
Yeah. So
we're gonna go to Mike.
Yeah. So just to respond to Rosca and to anybody else making this argument about vetting and oh my gosh, these dangerous immigrants. Oh no, they're gonna pew our people. I don't know how many times I have to say this, but there's a ton of academic literature on this. In study after study after study, we see that immigrants, whether they're quote unquote illegal or illegal, they are far less likely to commit crime than native-born U.S. citizens. So if you're so afraid of violent crimes, and if you're seriously trying to reduce crime, then by your own logic, you should go around forcibly sterilizing women across the United States, assuming, of course, that they're about to give birth to children that'll be, at the very least, children by birthright under the 14th Amendment. Because native-born citizens are more likely to commit crime than immigrants. That's not my opinion. That's not really up for debate. It's an empirical fact. So with that being the case, vilifying and demonizing immigrants is rather ridiculous. It's something that Aisha said earlier that, yeah, exactly, JD, don't give them ideas. Something that Aisha said earlier that I'm not going to say it's wrong, but she was saying, hey, if you were, let's say, Iraqi, or if you were from Lebanon, if you were from, name the country that the United States has bombed, then don't be surprised when these people hate you. But see, here's the thing that I'd add. And again, I'm not acting as if I'm like the spokesman of Lebanon here. But what I'm going to say, though, is that my mother, who is born and raised full-blooded Lebanese, she loves the United States. She's not a fan of our government, but she loves the people here. So with that being said, like, for example, Smitty, you are, I imagine, identifying yourself as American, right? Mm-hmm. Do you think that the politicians represent you? You probably think for the most part they don't. Mm-hmm. The problem with the United States is that it's not a democracy, it's not a constitutional republic, it's a plutocracy. And I think it's about time we started to call it that, because that's what it's always been. It was founded by plantation owners and genocidal warlords. That was by design. And we can go into different examples: Citizens United, the Electoral College, the lack of ranked choice voting. I mean, there's plenty of evidence that we don't actually live in a democracy. It's government by the rich. So with that being the case, like for me, I love the people here. I signed up to actually serve this country in uniform, but guess what? I'm going to also criticize it when it does horrible and illegal crap because, well, if not me, then who? Right? I mean, it's not complicated. The United States doesn't have to be a hellscape. But again, look at who's calling the shots. It's oligarchs. It's people who are after money. Smedley Butler said it best. War is a racket. Right? In the context of Afghanistan, you had defense contractors who wanted to keep creating demand for missiles and aircraft and guns and ammo. And you also had pharmaceutical companies like Pfizer that wanted to control the supply of opium coming out of Afghanistan. I mean, that's the reality. It's the war on DURGS, right? Okay. It doesn't just happen in Latin America. It was also, in this context, in Afghanistan. So you have the rest of my time.
Okay. Thank you, Iskander. We're going to welcome the three new panelists, Mike, Black Ice, and Lovely, and get their opinions. And then we're probably going to start to rotate here in a second. Let's go to Mike. Mike, if you're available, what are your thoughts on Donald Trump promising to close the border to third world countries and also promising to close Venezuelan airspace? If not, I'm going to go up to Black Ice if you're not available. All right, so on teacup, we're going to go to Black Ice. Black Ice, what are your thoughts?
Good morning, Smitty. Once again,
Good morning, bro.
I think really at the end of the day, it's just a distraction. I think, yeah, I'm a little bit different from the previous gentleman that was speaking about the power of the people, and it's not necessarily the rich that are in control. If you truly believe that we have free will, I think that the millions that voted for Trump, I don't think that they fit in that income bracket of where you're saying. So that is a very important piece to recognize. We choose to follow certain people. We choose to follow certain cultural things, but at the end of the day, we control that action. I just think that it's a diversion, and even the politicians that aren't Trump really get away from the facts of Epstein files, what we're actually doing with our budget, and we're choosing to follow the circus.
Okay. But do you think this will have implications to the folks that are trying to immigrate? Let's say, someone from, Ghana, Nigeria, want to claim asylum and now they can't. What do you think about that piece of it? And then I want to go to Lovely.
I do think it is, and I've got an ex who is forcing that issue right now. We're planning on going. Well, she is actually overseas, and she's having to do certain things that she didn't have to do 5 years ago in regards to her visa. I definitely, like I said, it's a diversion if you look at the whole big picture.
Okay. No, I appreciate you, Black Eyes, as always, bro. I'd love to have your perspective up here. Let me go to Lovely, and then Mike will come to you after Lovely. Lovely, how are you? Hope you're doing well. What are your thoughts on Donald Trump promising to close the border to third world countries and closing airspace over Venezuela?
I don't like that. I'm gonna have to disagree with on that one because just because some people did certain things don't mean the whole group needs to be punished. I think everybody needs to be looked at individually, and I just didn't like that because it just sets up a stereotype that I'm not for. Now, I agree with Trump when they steal millions and billions of dollars of food stamps and send them to a terrorist group. I have a problem with that. But that's not everybody included. That's just like they label black people. They label us, ghetto, this, that, and the third. But half of us is not like that. They just point out the one bad behavior and label us all. So I think that's a wrong move. I think everybody needs to be vetted on their own basis and go from there. But, I like him. I don't have no problem with certain things, but this one I do have to question.
Okay. And then what do you think about Venezuelan airspace being closed and a potential war with Venezuela? Do you support that or not? What do you think about that?
I think before we go to any type of closing airspace, trying to attack Venezuela, I think there need to have level heads and have a sit down and discussion. Right now, it's not the time, or we do not have the money to go in any type of war. It needs to be negotiations ongoing till they find a solution. I'm not with the war and trying to close somebody airspace. I'm not like that.
Okay. All right. Let's go to Mike. Mike, what are your thoughts? Mike, are you there?
I think I have a problem communication where I'm at. So can you hear me now?
Oh yeah, I got you. Yep, not a problem.
Yeah, I mean it's like funny to me, how every time one individual commits a crime, the entire immigrant community gets punished. When an American mass shooter killed dozens, nobody shut down the border for a white man. So let's keep it real. This administration tried to punish millions of immigrants because of an Afghan who was a CIA agent. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think I think most of everybody on the panel is in agreement with that. Okay. Oh, okay. I thought you agreed. I thought you said that you thought it was a little extreme to do that. No, did I misunderstand you, Roscoe?
I thought it was because we don't know what the third world countries are. But he was also, I mean, immigrant in the United States is a different thing from somebody who is immigrating. Like there's granularity to this. Is like it seems some people are confused. This means that no more applications will be handled from whatever these countries are. He hasn't disclosed yet, which they are. That doesn't. But then the persons internally already who already have who are already in the country, they will be also checked over.
Let me ask you, Roscoe, about.
And I.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So I mean, as I said in my preamble before, is like, and the purpose of that is to check also that they don't have connections, that they're not bringing in other persons. Because I mean, somebody mentioned here, Mike above me was of the opinion that Europeans are white people are not on the same, white people not on the same discretion. Well, they didn't. Nobody from Europe shot two National Guardsmen in D.C., in the capital of your country. So I mean, obviously there is a difference here. I mean, if it had been a European who had done this, or somebody who had come from here, perhaps then that would have been the results. And don't think that the Trump, by the way, is not pro EU. Surely you must realize that too.
Yeah, I mean, Go ahead, Ashley. Go ahead.
Okay, so when he said the Europeans haven't come over here and pew two people, the Europeans came over here and unalived 56 million indigenous.
Remind him about that. Remind him.
56 million indigenous people. So miss me with they haven't. So the benevolent European people haven't come over here and done.
How many immigrants were?
It doesn't matter.
Native Americans were enslaved by Native Americans.
Hold on.
Thousands. They didn't come over and shoot somebody.
Hold on, everybody.
DC.
Roscoe, you can take a look.
Somebody came from South Africa recently and got charged with I think it was either pew-pewing or graping. So, you saying that, what every European person has done since they've been here? If you don't see how that's a false flag.
I know the crime statistics. Yes, I do.
If you don't see how that's a setup and a diversion from these Epstein, well, I don't know if you can say Epstein.
Right, let's not say it.
For the files, for the PDF files, then I don't know what to tell you, sir. You must get your news from Fox. You have to. This doesn't make any sense, what you're saying. It makes no sense.
Hey, Soul Speak, how are you? Good to see you. Thank you for coming in. Okay, so let's do this. Let's shift over to, actually, before we do that, there were a couple people that sound like they supported this action from Donald Trump in the comments. So please feel free to request if you do support this. My sisters are still, yep. Okay, so let's go to Venezuela. We got Lovely's thoughts on Venezuela. We got Iskander's thoughts on Venezuela. We got Aisha's thoughts. Mike, what are your thoughts? Do you support a potential war with Venezuela? Mike, are you there? All right. Mike, we might have to let you go. Mike, feel free to re-request. We'll try to get you back up. All right. Well, so we got East LA. East LA, what do you think about Donald Trump's statement to close the border to third world countries? And what do you think, East LA, about Venezuelan airspace being closed?
As someone who 40 years ago defended people coming here, and I actually called them undocumented Americans because I believed that they followed the American ethic, even though they had no papers. At that time, I realized there would be a time when the policy would have to change. That time is now. Policy has to change. Things are different. We have too high a degree of illicit substance trade that comes from the border. We have the imminent threat of being victims, once again, of T group activity. The time has come for the policies to change. We have literally done our went far above the call of duty in our immigration policies. There are many who have come here, and there are millions who are here illegally. It's time to close the border.
So are you saying East LA completely to every country, or are you saying to what Donald Trump is saying to third world countries?
Anyone who represents a threat to America, either by promoting and putting forth the illicit substance trade, and or is recognized as a potential threat regarding T group activity. That would be certain countries from the Middle East, and that would be certain countries from south of the border.
Okay.
Taking our bases out of there, because all of the countries that he's talking about, we have military bases in those countries. So is there going to be any kind of legislation to keep us out of countries that we destroy? Because we
No,
destroy
ma'am. There will no legislation as long as we have
all of
permission.
the over 200, I can't remember the number. All of the people that are stationed in all of these third world countries that
There's a
you're
lot of
talking
Alicia
about,
on there. Why is Alicia constantly talking
Hold on,
and
hold
responding to
on.
everything?
So real quick, just a quick. Hold on, Aisha, give me a second. So just a real quick announcement. I'm really particular about like when people are speaking. I don't care if I agree or disagree. Let's just give them their time, and then if you want to say something, right, I kind of out of turn, just let me know in the comments. I'll try to get to you. But y'all know I'm really particular about that.
Thank you,
Okay.
Steve, for saying that.
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
listen to respond. Just damn.
Yes, exactly.
East
Go ahead,
LA.
Aisha. Go ahead, Aisha.
No, Aisha first.
Oh, you want me to talk?
Oh, I thought you weren't finished. If you're
No,
finished, I'm gonna go to
wasn't.
Iskander.
I wasn't. Yeah, I wasn't finished. My question is, we talk about.
She didn't get her turn.
It
She's
just
constantly
it really
interrupting. Like
upsets me
somebody else is
because
speaking, then
we
she thinks
have
she has something to
countries.
ask.
Hold on, y'all.
We're
Let's let her
in
finish.
we're in hundreds of other countries. Why? Why are we in Saudi Arabia? What's the reason for our base being there? So it seems to me, since we don't want anybody to come to our country, then we don't need to go anybody else's country. Why do we? What business is if Maduro is the president in Venezuela? That has nothing to do with America. Why do we have bases over there? What is the, not in Venezuela, but in other countries? Why are we there? Why? Because of the gold and because of the oil. So it seems like to me, it seems what's good for the goose is good for the
There's
gander.
no gold in
If
Saudi
there's
Arabia.
military bases there, they need to all come back to America. We need to shut everything down. Nobody can come over here. Europe, Venezuela, wherever they're from, just shut it on down and see how that works for America.
Okay. Let me go to Iskander. Go ahead, Iskander.
Yeah, so when he's talking about shutting the border, look, Trump's policy, and this isn't me saying this, this is what Trump himself campaigned on, mass deportation. So with that being the case, I don't know if you know about the story of Sergeant Steve Rios, East LA. He's a U.S. Marine whose parents were deported, and he joined the Marine Corps to keep his parents from getting deported. His sister is married to a Marine and is pregnant. We were able to get Sergeant Steve Rios' mom back, thank God. His dad, however, still got deported to Tijuana and just wants to see the birth of his first grandchild. These are both hardworking, blue-collar people, some of the kindest, warmest people that I've ever had the fortune of getting to know. And I'm over here thinking, gee, we're targeting the parents of our troops. We send our troops off to fight in some godforsaken invasion, some sort of bloody war. They lose a limb, they might lose their lives, they come back with all sorts of trauma. Then we come back and shit on them when they get home. Right? So what I'm trying to understand here is how you, East LA, or anybody, can support that. I'd also add that Trump tried to use the Marine Corps and the National Guard, for that matter, against people that were exercising their First Amendment rights. He tried doing this over the summer in Los Angeles. That's against federal law, and he had to be rebuked by the Commandant of the Marine Corps in front of the U.S. Senate when he tried to get the Marine Corps to start thumping people. When ICE, LAPD, Highway Patrol, and the FBI were overwhelmed by the sheer mass of protesters, the 30,000 plus of them that took to the streets in protest of Trump's immigration policy. And so clearly, trying to deport 10 million plus people is not going to be practical. It's going to be a Vietnam type quagmire. Trump doesn't have the manpower to do it, and his attempts to illegally summon the manpower to do it blew up in his face. Right. I mean, we're going to see this. Like, you wait, right? The midterms are coming. There's going to be a massive blue wave, and Republicans are going to get voted out of both the House and the Senate.
Smitty, can
Okay.
I?
Calling it right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, Lovely. So we'll go Lovely and then East LA because Iskander did mention East LA. So yeah, go ahead, Lovely, and then East LA. Go ahead.
Now I'm gonna drop down after this. Smitty, you know
Okay.
me very well. I've been on your live media times,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm not gonna sit here and gas up the masses with those two guys that just well, one of them that passed away that serves America. You know what I'm talking about, Smitty.
Mm-hmm.
When they was attacked, I'm just telling y'all straight up. You can complain, you can march, you can do all the things you want to do, but America's leading into a military state. This is gradually going into. And when you do stupid stuff like happened with that young lady that passed away, all it do is energize. All it do is move them closer to say America's out of control or the people of America's out of control. We got to do martial law. They waiting to something catastrophic happen to do it, and you will get what you ask for. Some things you got to think clearly about because this is leading up to a situation where we'll all be under surveillance. It's not just the immigrants now. It's moving into Americans now. That's when they go to the point where they say homegrown terrorists. And when they start saying things like that, you're heading down a dark road. So you can sit on this live all you want to and think that you're marching, you're complaining. Baby, they are gradually moving along. And you can fight those people, try to unalive those people. They're going to justify all their actions like they did with the guy Charlie. They saying that you're violent, and then they waiting for somebody else to fall so they can do what they really want to do. Do not play in their hands. But like I said, they don't listen to me, Smitty. They want the feel good conversation. I'm just keeping it real where we're going. My eyes are open, and I know each step leads to something a little stricter, a little bit more. I can do this now because they did this now. It's a game. It's a chess match. And the people that are acting emotional and not thinking clearly, you are playing into their hands. And I'm gonna say, keep it going, baby, because sooner or later we all gonna be on lockdown, and the military is gonna be in every city you can ever think of. So I'm just gonna leave it right there, Smitty. I'm
Okay.
gone. I gotta go on with my day.
All right, Lovely. Thank you for coming up. All right, so we're gonna drop Lovely. East LA. What are your thoughts on what Iskander said? He did not feel, he didn't disagree with your take. And then I want to go to, so let's do this. Let's go East LA, Rosca, and then Renee. And then I'm going to short the panel a little bit here in a second. Go ahead, East LA. What are your thoughts on what Iskander had to say?
A couple of things regarding what Mr. Iskander said. First of all, regarding a blue wave that he's talking about that could happen during the midterms, this is my main concern. This, in the history of America, is no time, absolutely zero time for social democracy. This must not happen right now, in my opinion. It will compromise on our security. It will compromise on our ability to defend ourselves, and it'll literally cause a divestment movement in America that will minimize the effect of those who are productive and maximize the effect of those who are ideological radicals. Okay, I don't want this to happen. Mr. Mamdani is a socialist, without a doubt, in my opinion. He has said things, too many things right now for me to, I do not have a problem with him based on his religion, based on his ethnicity, based on where he comes from. I don't care. He could be Mexican and I would say the same thing. He represents a compromise in America's ability to stabilize. He wants to collectivize a time right now when we should be concentrating on supporting, validating, and doing everything we can to continue our tradition of a free market in America. We were an industrialized superpower. We don't make things the way we used to anymore. That's the basis of our economic problem. Basis of our problem is the drug trade. Because of that, the main, this is literally the biggest threat that exists to America. That border has to be heavily regulated. Regarding what the woman below said about the possibility of martial law, the far left, the radical left, actually increases that possibility by their unreasonable dissent against America. They want to see America destabilized, so that way they believe this will facilitate the possibility of not even social democracy, but an ultimate form of collectivism. The United States will respond by increasing our security And at a certain point, it may be necessary that some of our, especially if there is T group activity that becomes too common in America, yes, there will be restrictions upon our freedom. And at that time, I say, I would promote, this is a first step. By the way, I'm not being draconian at all. I'm saying this, that if any American supports any T group, anybody that's recognized by the State Department as a T group, if you show support publicly in a demonstration and or public in any public forum for any recognized T group activity, you should receive a letter from the State Department requesting you once again to leave America, and that letter should be documented and kept under recording.
Okay. All right. Good. Let's go, Rosca. Then we're gonna walk up our two new panelists, and I'm gonna let some folks go. Let me get.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'd like to address on this turn. I'd like to, on this turn, because I addressed the
come in. I'll see if I can squeeze you in. Actually, go ahead.
Because in my previous, the first prompt, now on the second one on the Venezuelan airspace being closed. Yep. I want to inform the panel and the viewers is that the current president of Venezuela has been in office since 2013. So that's 17 years. Do you guys understand this? There's a problem with Venezuela. It's a dictatorship.
And
Maduro is a dictator. He's been there continuously in office for 17 years. And what happened there is the actual winner of the previous elections was Machado, this woman here, who won the Nobel Peace Prize. You understand that? And you know what she said when she got the Nobel Peace Prize? The Democrats and the leftists in the United States were thinking like, oh, now Trump is going to be upset because somebody else won the Nobel Peace Prize. Guess what happened? Machado won the Nobel Peace Prize, and in her, because she's in hiding, she can't even show up to get the reward. From hiding, she issued a statement where she says she dedicates the Nobel Peace Prize that was given to her to the people of Venezuela who are fighting against Machado's dictatorship there, and to Donald Trump in the United States for what the United States and his administration is doing to liberate Venezuela. So I'm telling you, man, this airspace thing, this is no joke. Like, it's going to happen. Venezuela, pucker your butts, batten the hatches, because it's going to happen. The fleet is already there off the coast. It's going to happen. Land strikes happen soon. Like Machado's going to, what's the other one? They're so similar. Maduro is out. Like, if they don't take him out himself, the U.S. is going to take him out. And Machado will come in, and this is strategically important to the United States, not just from the issues of drug trafficking, the cartels, but also, it's literally across the coast of the Gulf of America, by the way, not the Gulf of Mexico anyways, and it's a central foothold also on the north of the South American continent, and it's going to happen.
Okay.
It's going to happen because this guy, the United States cannot tolerate. Remember the Monroe Doctrine. I hope you guys had education in this back in high school. It's like the Monroe Doctrine.
Yes.
Means that the United States has an hemisphere. In other words, the Americas, north, south, both continents, and middle. That includes Venezuela. So it's going to happen.
Okay.
Watch
it. Let me go, Aisha, real quick, because I want to get the two new panelists. But go ahead. I know you want to interject. Go ahead.
Okay. First of all, Trump said the quiet part out loud, that the reason that they wanted to go to Venezuela was to get their oil. That's what he said out of his own mouth. And if he has, I don't care if he's been president since 1985. That is none of my business. I don't live in Venezuela. Venezuela has nothing to do with me or America. So using that logic, basically what we're hearing, those fishing boats that were pew-pewed or whatever, they don't know who was on the fishing boats. And it's 2,000, I think it was like 2,000, I think, miles. That boat wouldn't even have made it to America. The boat was going somewhere else. The little fish, it was a fisherman's boat, right? The people that we get actual drugs from is Mexico and I think Colombia.
So just be
And
careful with
so
Aisha fam. Just hold on real quick. Just be careful with the words you're saying. Just be careful.
how you know what? I'm gonna say this, Smitty. They don't even right now. I'll talk to you about it later. They don't even care anymore because they got other stuff going on. But those places are where the I don't know what to call it. The D's come from. Not. And then guess who helps them with the D's? That's the United States. Come on, y'all. Just don't play games. If it's the case that Venezuela they want to whatever why. The man said it. Trump, did you hear him say it, Smitty? We're over there to get the gold. That's what the man said. We're not over there for any other reason. And all that's going to happen is we're going to be in a forever war like we were in Afghanistan for 20 years so we could protect those poppy fields. However, this is I'm about to land my plane. 190,000, there are 190,000 active duty personnel throughout the world in 80 countries. And some of the countries are considered the third world countries, which are, I'm going to make sure I get these countries right. These countries are Somalia, Kenya, let me see. I just want to make sure I get all of the ones that they're saying here.
Sorry, I gotta.
Point is, I don't want to, because I don't want to hold the time up. Point is, there are military bases in these. Okay, I got it. So it's in Niger, Somalia, Seychelles, Cuba, Honduras. Stop correcting me. Colombia, El Salvador, which is our third world country, Peru. So you tell me why can we go ahead on since we're doing all of this closing the borders, we don't these people are evil and all this kind of stuff. Can we just go ahead and get our troops out of there too?
Okay. All right. Let me go to Renee. Renee, we're talking about the Venezuelan airspace statement that Donald Trump made around that being closed. And by the way, listen for the new people, okay, who are on the panel, okay, if you see me, chuckling, okay, it's from my comments. They have full reign to say however they feel. I love my chat, best chat on TikTok, so don't take it personally. But most of y'all already been up on this panel before. You already know how it goes in here. All right, Renee, what are your thoughts on Venezuelan airspace being closed or Donald Trump promises to close the border to third world countries? What do you think?
I think the whole thing reeks of WMDs and doublespeak and propaganda. And his voting base eats that shit up. But smart people understand that, Americans are suffering. American farms are dying. American people are losing their jobs at astonishing rates. Hundreds of thousands of Black women have lost their jobs and their livelihood in the last year since he took control. And yet y'all are sitting here defending overblown military budgets and other people's, it's on the one hand, people are like, oh, America first. On the next hand, it's like, oh, Daddy Trump said, let's go to Venezuela and take care of them. And let's spend all of our money in Izzy. So let's take care of them. But, small government, like y'all don't even hear yourselves. The fact that East LA spent 20 minutes talking about Zoran Mamdani, you live in fucking East LA. Mind your goddamn business. What the fuck do you have to do with New York City? I'm sorry. I am so tired of people who don't live in New York State, New York City, talking about what the fuck we're doing over here, first of all. Secondly, I am so tired of people who are uninformed, and the only sources they believe are the ones that, affirm their own biases and bigotries, sitting up on these apps and bloviating and pretending like they know what the fuck they're talking about. I'm tired of it. It's too much. It's too much because it's messing with the discourse. Not every opinion is valid, and not every opinion holds weight, especially when you don't know what you're talking about. Like, what the AOC ran as a democratic socialist. AOC ran as let me say this one more time. AOC ran as a democratic socialist. If we did not have socialist policies in this country, we would not have roads. We would not have hospitals. We would not have all of the traffic lights. We would not have the things that you care about and that make your life livable. We would not have roads plowed in winter times if we did not understand socialism. So the fact that you think that, oh, socialism is a bad reason. Oh, master debater, I've already blocked you. You've got Cartman as Charlie Kirk as your freaking profile picture. I do not care what you have to say. So the problem to me is that people are sitting around listening to this propaganda, navel gazing, and thinking that talking points about Zoran Mamdani and loose borders. What does Zoran Mamdani have to do with the borders? He has nothing to do with the borders. But I'm sorry, how is Venezuela being propped up? How are people not even from Venezuela getting sent to Venezuela, first of all? But how is Venezuela getting propped up, going to help the average American when people's grocery bills are now $200 more than they were last year? How is that making America great again? How are these tariffs that were supposed to be, we're gonna change the world with tariffs? Y'all didn't even understand what a tariff was. Like, that's the problem. Y'all are just pulling things out of your butt because it suits the narrative of whatever Daddy Trump told you today, and it's really, really, really annoying. It's not a big leap. I'm smarter than you. The problem is that y'all don't know how to connect things. Y'all don't know how to connect the dots. You don't know how to understand the information that you are being given, and you don't care to think any deeper than what is the nose in front of your face. And it's really sad because we could have an advanced society with all the money that we're spending on Izzy's defense and on Venezuela and on a new quote unquote ballroom under the White House. We could be spending that money on social programs and infrastructure. But because y'all don't understand the difference between socialism, which helps protect you, like, the food banks that y'all keep telling poor people they should go to, where do you think that food comes from? It comes from FDA subsidies. But y'all's got the FDA's budget slashed so much that now food banks can't feed people. But you don't want to pay for people to have SNAP benefits, which is another social program that helps people to survive. And I'm sorry, I will land my plane.
Is this gonna
Yeah. I got you. I got it.
I'm wrapping it up.
Renee.
I gotta hop down. Thank you for having me up.
Of course.
TLDR, please read some books.
So you're going to drop without responding. Oh, so you just like a hit and run. Okay.
What? You just want to start I don't have the energy to start fights with people like you.
You're the one, you just want to make claims and then not defend them.
What claims?
Fine.
What
Go.
claims did I make?
Leave.
What claims did I make that I'm not defending?
Any number of them. But are you leaving now? Or are you going to stay and defend them?
I'm going to stay until you tell me what claims I made.
Oh, so now you're going to stay.
Okay, so real quick, let's go ahead. Let's do this, okay? Because it was actually Heather's opportunity, so let's protect Heather's opportunity to speak. Renee, feel free to stay or leave, whatever you want to do. And then we're about to rotate here in a second anyway. I'm going to shrink the panel. It's a little too big today. Let me go to, and then feel free, if you agree, disagree with the panelists have said, I'm going to give new folks an opportunity here in a minute. But let's go to Heather. Heather, what are your thoughts on Trump promising to close the border or the Venezuelan airspace, or both, whichever you would like?
Yeah, it's just more bloviating and trying to lead us toward this white nationalist agenda that they have, that the Heritage Foundation has completely taken over this country. And a lot of it is based on ignorance. They seem to be confused about what types of socialism they are. They want to go to the drastic end and talk about Fidel Castro, right? And that type of socialism, instead of pointing to Nordic countries like Norway, Sweden, Denmark, Finland. Some of these countries are cited as some of the strongest welfare states, some of the healthiest economies, the happiest people. They rank with the least number of self-unalivings. And so, excuse me, I have a little bit of a cold. So it's frustrating because they've got Donald Trump blowing smoke up their rear and telling them all these horrible things about foreigners when this country was founded by foreigners. So it's frustrating. It makes me sad. It makes me just really worried about the future of our country, and closing the border to third world country. What is that going to do? I mean, that if we're gonna point at someone who's causing problems, let's look at ourselves. Let's look at the Americans that are going into schools and unaliving children. Why aren't we deporting them? Right? It doesn't make any sense. It makes zero sense what they're saying. These people do not pose a threat to us.
All right. Thank you, Heather. Let's do this. Let me go to East LA, then I want to go to Iskander and then Rosca. So East LA, Iskander, and then Rosca. But before I do, give me a second, East LA. I want to take a quick poll because it seems like we got a more balanced chat, but I could be wrong. If you agree with Donald Trump's statements around the border and the Venezuelan airspace being closed, put a 1. If you do not, put a 2. And then while you're doing that, please tap the screen. My sister Ann is working very hard in the comments trying to get y'all to tap so we can get to 50K. That would be incredible. All right. Let me go to, we got quite a few ones in here. Okay. Please feel free to request. We have a balanced panel opportunity. Go ahead, Isela.
Thank you, sir. First of all, I grew up, when I was young, there was something called disco, and I loved it because it meant you could dance and you could fraternize with good people. Unfortunately, those places became infected as illicit substance parlors. People would sniff out of these little bottles. They would utilize powdered substances. They would drink themselves to stupor. It ruined everything. I made a pledge at 20 years old. I will never, ever put any type of drug in my system unless I am desperately in pain to the point of unalivement. I have adhered to that pledge. Why? Because I saw in 1978 how drugs had ruined America. The problem has become much more severe. The substances has become much more severe now. Literally, today, America is like one flew over the cuckoo's nest. It is everywhere. There is insanity everywhere. We have been destabilized. If this continues, along with the prospect of T group activity, these people who are predicting the demise of America, it will not be demise. It will simply be the security will increase. I am not at all jealous of young people. I want to see them have half the freedoms, and which you do not have the freedoms that I had in 1978. I want to see you have equal, if not more, freedoms. But if this drug trade continues, if T group activity becomes an epidemic in America, they will put the clamps down. And yes, there will be martial law. It will be necessary in order to defend this nation. I never want to see that. That's a nightmare. By the way, it won't affect me as an old man anymore. Okay, very much. They're not gonna be watching me for feeding the pigeons at the park. Okay, it's gonna be you that are affected. I do not want to see this. It is a time. It is not the time right now for leftist policies that come from the radical left that will, in fact, destabilize this nation.
Okay. But I think it's Iskander, right? Does that?
Yeah.
Iskander, then Rosca, and then Aisha. I got you, Aisha. So Iskander, Rosca, Aisha, and then we're gonna get final comments from some of you guys, and then and we'll get some. We're gonna shorten the panel or shrink the panel a little bit. Go ahead. What is Iskander?
Okay. So thank you, Smitty. So here's the bottom line. So in East LA, I actually commend you for swearing off all illicit substances. I'm actually with you on that. I've actually never even drank a day in my life. I'm now 28. It's been legal now for the last 7.5 years. I still haven't done it because I just don't want to. Right? I don't go to McDonald's and eat Big Macs either because those cause heart disease, which unalives more people than cancer, car crashes, you name it. I make those choices as a consumer. But whenever you make something illegal, you create a black market for, in this case, illicit substances. You see this with certain types of firearms. You also will see this with abortion. If Republicans get their way and they make abortion a federal felony, then they're going to call it camping, right? Where people go and they get black market abortions, right? So with that being the case, is it really intelligent to advocate for more police activity, especially in minority communities? No. The reality is what we need to do is what we've done with, we'll just call it drinking to be TikTok safe and not let Slive compromised. But even Milton Friedman, who I'm not a huge fan of, like full disclosure, I'm a leftist, libertarian, said to be staunch defenders of capitalism, so we diverge on that point. However, they tend to have some serendipitously good takes on criminal justice reform, one of which being that they think that we should legalize all illicit substances. And I'm like, yeah, I agree. I don't think that sending the cops after somebody for puffing or for snorting or injecting is effective. It's not effective. The reality is these are people who are mentally ill, but we don't treat it like mental illness. We treat it like it's a crime. And then we throw these mentally ill people in jail where they become hardened criminals. And then after they get out, if they get out, they have a criminal record. Nobody will want to hire them. So then what do? They turn back to crime. They become career criminals. And then we end up with a pretty serious problem, don't we? And we have decades worth of research on this. So I don't know what there really is to debate at this point. And the only way to really deal with this problem is just to legalize everything, tax it, and then fund mental health services. This idea of, let's just send the cops after everyone. Let's just bomb the crap out of these cartels. And let's, have this more militant approach and be like El Salvador and create mega prisons. It's like, are you serious? Like, not only are there insane mental health or human rights abuses that are going to be associated with that, but it's not going to be effective.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Iskander. We're going to go Roska, Aisha, and then Renee. Go ahead, Roska.
Right. I live in Finland. I'm Finnish.
Right.
So I want to elucidate a little bit on what some of the misconceptions that are here.
Hold on, Aisha. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let's let them continue. Go ahead. Go ahead, Roska.
Yeah. So I want to elucidate and educate a little bit on what are the what is the notion of socialism. There's two. Because we're Nordic countries are referenced. Finland is a Nordic country. I've lived in Sweden as well. I know the Nordic countries, and I know our perceptions of these political perspectives. So there's two views. There's the democratic socialism and there's social democracy, social democrats. Now, social democrats is like the lightweight. That's the one that has some notion, at least, that there is some compromise necessary between a socialist and a capitalist system. Whereas democratic socialists, on the other hand, are the ones who think that, or far more vociferous on the fact that they think that individual private ownership should be outlawed and everything should be state owned. But the fact of these two is that they're both of the same package. They're still driving to the same point, is that they want society to be owned by the state, ownership to be by the state. Now, they may claim that it is, the ownership by the people, but ownership by the people would be like capitalism. You own what you own. No. But in these socialist systems, this is what it is. It boils down to it will eventually be owned by the state. So AOC, Cortez, and Sanders have not built anything in the United States. I want to make that clear. Like, they haven't built anything. All they do is run their mouth. And then on this other point of U.S. policy regarding the Venezuela and the South American situation, it's just I was watching CNN today, and it was amazing how they're already trying to twist it on the notion that Trump or MAGA or Republicans were ever isolationists. This is not an isolationist period. No, this is a period in which the interests of the United States are being exerted also internally and externally. So domestic and foreign policy to one goal, which is the strengthening the United States to make it, again, a superpower on this planet. Now, why does that concern me here in Finland? Well, because I would rather that the United States is a superpower than Russia, for example. Like, that's excellent. That's eminently in my interest. And when it comes to South America, the problem there is that BRICS has been infiltrating South America. The United States has lost its, controlling interests in much of South America. That's a problem for you. Like, you should be concerned about this in the United States. It's not helping you. That Venezuela has had a dictator for 16 years is not good for you in the United States, whether you are a Republican or Democrat. Like, that's a problem. And the only thing that's changed now is that you have an administration which is ready to do something about it before the situation culminates, and it would, if there's no intervention, to far far more dangerous situations for the United States. Far more isolationism, by the way, because you wouldn't have trade also with there. I mean, why didn't Biden do anything about this situation? Now it's happening, and good that it is.
Okay.
And I hope it works out.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Rosca. So Aisha, Renee, and then Heather, and then we're going to go to kind of final comments for the bottom three. Okay. We'll keep the top three if they want to stay up. All right. Aisha, go ahead. Go ahead, fam.
I need everybody to make sure you tap the screen and like.
Erica! Go ahead.
Smitty should be at 50,000, and he's not. I don't understand. So please make sure you tap, like, share. Thank you. So I get really irritated, Smitty, listening to Fox talking points. These people Fox just needs to close and just let the people who have programmed them, because this is propaganda. It's propaganda. We have no business being in Venezuela. It has nothing to do with us. If we would concentrate on our own country, the drug addiction, I mean, I don't know if I can't say that word, but the de-addiction, the homelessness that we have, 1 million homeless, if we concentrated on our own country, then maybe we could fix a lot of the things that are wrong. Because I'm all for socialism. I think it's awesome. I think that wealth should be distributed. I don't think there should be billionaires, 8 to 10 billionaires controlling the whole world. No, that's not acceptable. And the last time I checked, Trump was president also when Moderno was in office. Well, why didn't he do something? He was there. You said he's been president since 2013. So he had 4 years to get rid of him, and he did not. Stop bothering people's resources. The only reason that we're over it in these countries is to get their resources. And that's not our place. And see, that comes from the YT supremacy, that they manifest destiny, that they own everything that everybody has. And then my last question, I'm gonna land my plane and let somebody else come up. My last question is: so the 190,000 service members that are in some of these quote unquote third world countries, do you agree that we should bring all of our troops out of these countries and have them do things in our country? Do you think that should be a goal? Because we have no business in these countries. Why are we over there? We're not keeping the peace, that's for sure, because they're in civil wars. So I want to know, for the two people who are Trump's minions, should we get all of those people, all of our military bases out of these foreign countries, the ones that he's calling a third world country, or should they stay, and why?
Okay, let me let. Yeah. Okay, thank you, fam.
Can I rebut?
Thank you for coming up.
Is there an opportunity for
Yeah. Go ahead, Roscoe. Thank you.
When he started,
I want to bring this across to you. That
just FYI.
I'm bringing this to you because this is, again, it's like you in the United States, you may not know what a social democrat or a democratic socialist is, but I'm going to focus on the social democrat because that's what
understanding to what we know
senators and AOC present themselves as. The point here is like there was a misunderstanding that you think that social democrats are going to give money to you. No, they're not. They're going to take money from you to give to the state. It means more taxes. It means that you will be more required to pay for the state, and the state will be then the one that provides the services that you need from your tax money, rather than having any option from any kind of private. It's if you think the social democracy is going to make you rich or redistribute wealth
in the United States. Have you ever set foot in the United States?
I'm living in the social democratic country.
Have you ever
in the Nordic countries?
So real quick, let's do this.
Answer my direct question. Have you ever lived in the United States?
That the social democratic system is going to redistribute wealth to you is false. It's going to redistribute wealth to the state, not to you.
So that's just a yes or no question.
So let's do this, because Aisha asked a question to either Nordic or East LA, but let's kind of move on. Because she's not up on the panel anyway. Let's let Renee get her opportunity. Okay, and then again, we're going to shorten the panel here. All good, Erica. Folks have requested that you come up. You got a lot of fans in this in the chat, so no, all good. But let's let Renee. I know Renee, you got to go as well. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have to go visit my parents in a nursing home. And he does have a Finnish accent. If you know European accents, he does have a Finnish accent. I can hear it myself. I do believe what he's saying. But I also asked multiple times whether or not he has ever set foot in the United States or lived here, and he never answered. He interrupted me
I have
multiple
set foot in the United States, but I haven't lived there.
So you were a tourist in this country, and you've
Yes.
never actually lived here.
I haven't actually lived there, no.
So,
Hey, She, what's going on, fam? Go ahead, Renee.
I do not believe that it's appropriate for people who are not intimately aware of a system to come into conversations about that system and have big opinions about how I would not go on a panel about.
I did not address the nation, the fact of living in the United States.
Yeah,
I was
hold
talking
on.
about what the social democratic
Okay, so
model
let's
is.
let's do this, y'all. So
Which I know more about because I lived in a social democratic country, and you
Can I
haven't.
finish my point?
Roscoe, hold on. Let's let her finish, and please, y'all, let's not interrupt when unless they ask his question. Go
The
ahead.
fact that he so condescendingly believes that he knows more about our political system than we know about our political system is laughable. He is using.
I'm telling you, I know more about
his
social
microphone.
democrats than you
Please
do.
mute his microphone.
Not about.
Please mute his microphone. He is using rhetoric that lots of people have used since time immemorial to discredit socialist and pro-communal movements. And I'm sorry, but it's really infuriating to hear people who do not understand the intimate experience of America, of Americans, and of the people who are being harmed by the systems that are currently in place. People have been saying so much about, since this last contest, Black Americans specifically have been suffering. I said earlier that hundreds of thousands of people are losing their jobs. That is 300,000 Black women alone in the first couple of months of this lost their jobs. And then they turned off things like SNAP benefits, and then they demonized social services. So no, I do not want to hear the opinion anymore of someone who has never been in this system telling me what this system needs. That is insulting.
For being a social democrat
Please
system.
mute
You don't
his-
even know
please
what
mute
it's
his
like.
mic. Please mute his mic. And to even think that you know more about what we as Americans need to advance our culture. Around the world right now, a muskrat is paying for the advancement of Waisu ideals in every single European country and bankrolling the movements that are being the downfall of places like England and America. Our economic downfall is the idea that we don't have to listen or support the lowest members of our society. And to act like socialism didn't help Britain get out of World War II or solidify themselves as a world power after World War II, to act like socialism doesn't help pave your streets and keep your lights running is ridiculous. And I'm sorry, I am not going to take condescension from someone who is hanging out from outside the club thinking that we need to support other cultures and ignore our own. You don't live in America. You don't understand what it's like in America. So stop telling Americans and people who live in this country that socialism would not benefit us when you are more concerned about how our downfall and destruction benefits you. The one thing you said is, I want this to happen because it benefits us in Finland. Fuck Finland. If this is supposed to be...
Billy said I wanted the U.S. to be
Please
strong.
shut his mic off. If this is supposed to be about America and Americans and, America first for America, that's the complete opposite of what y'all are saying, of what 47 and 45 was saying, what the cult mentality. So please, let's stop with the nonsense and acting like sending money to Izzy and Venezuela and wherever is a good idea when Americans are suffering. And I will land my plane. I got to get ready to go visit my parents in the home. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you, Smitty.
Thank you, Renee. We're gonna let you go. All right. Let's go to East LA. I know you want to jump in. Go ahead, East LA. And we're gonna go to Heather.
I've actually lived in America longer than Renee. Mr. Roscoe was right on. You do not have to be from a country in order to have knowledge about the system, in order to be well read and well informed. He lives in a democracy. He has access to all the information that we as Americans have. He gave an opinion and she wanted to restrict that opinion. She dissented against it just based on the fact that he was not from here. And she wanted him to stop saying it, okay? This is the antithesis. This is precisely what I worry about. These kind of ideologues in America who are in fact American and who betray the full concept of the First Amendment by disallowing the First Amendment, by disallowing free speech to be put forth and to be practiced on an international basis. We need to solidify our ties with other nations who are free. And we need to allow them to speak about us as we speak about them. And what really infuriates me is she told me that I had no right to speak about New York City, a city that I love with almost the equal to my own. When I go to New York, it is like to make a pilgrimage. I love it there. I become a part of New York. It is a huge part of my life. And she tells me, and by the way, as an American, I'm free to go there at any time I want. Why? Because it is America. But yet she tells me not to have an opinion on Mamdani. This is hypocrisy. This is why I fear ideologues from the left. They want to censor.
I do kind of find a little bit of irony though, East LA, and then I want to go Heather and then no tour business. I think that's your username. But so give me a second. I just want to ask East LA question and then Heather, Hester, and then the next panelist. But I feel like listen, I hosted very large lives on the Israel-Palestine situation. And I will tell you, there were dozens of pro-Israel people that said, you're not from Israel, you've never been to Israel, you can't comment on what's going on. And so would you also say that is incorrect, or is there a difference between that conflict and what's going on here? What do you think about that?
First of all, regarding the way you reacted to me, yeah, you said you had a little bit of a problem. This is literally what you said. This is why I consider you to be a true liberal. Right? I don't have a problem with your version of leftism. You do not censor. You do allow people like me to speak. And when you do criticize us, it is with a valid criticism, which I will respond. She was calling for him not to talk. Oh, that's the difference. Okay, number one. Number two, regarding the nation of Israel, you have to understand their position. And by the way, since you said that, I will say this. Understand their position. They are being ruthlessly attacked. And they have been since the inception of their nation.
Okay, so hold on, y'all. Hold on.
Real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
77 years, a nation of 11 million has been attacked by an entire region that whose land represents a greater part of the Soviet Union.
Real quick. So I feel like you're not answering the question, which is why you got muted. Okay.
Okay. So ask it again. I'll be concise.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I will be concise. If a nation is under extreme threat, that nation's people will respond different than those who are not under that kind of a threat. I promise you this, and this is how I'll land in one sentence. If America is ever threatened on all its borders by an entire region, you will see a complete change in the attitude of all Americans as we must defend ourselves.
So real quick, and then I want to move on. But I feel like that's what a lot of MAGA people are telling you, are saying to everybody. Hey, we are under attack. I mean, listen to what Donald Trump has said about immigrants, how they are I'm not even going to say what he said. It was so horrible to me, right? I feel like that's the whole rhetoric is fear and like, oh my gosh, the country is going to be completely run over. That's I feel like it's the same rhetoric. But let me move on. Let me go to Hester and then No Tour. Go ahead. Hester, sorry, I keep calling you Heather. I'm sorry. Hester, and what are your thoughts from what you heard?
Well, yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of fear mongering going on. the guy that was up here earlier, was conflating social democracy and democratic socialism. The thing is that AOC's stance on democratic socialism, all it is guaranteed health care, right? Tuition-free colleges and universities, living wages for Americans. That's not going to topple capitalism. In fact, her goal is to work within the existing capitalist system rather than abolish it, right? We do need to more evenly distribute the wealth. There's no reason people should be multi-billionaires and multi-trillionaires while we have people sleeping on the streets. It makes no sense. There has to be a logic. There has to be a happy medium. And the far right and the far left, as far as I'm concerned, can go to hell. But what we need to have is people that are willing to accept that this country's in trouble and that we are very wealthy and very powerful. We can help ourselves. And by sending all our money to Israel, that's not helping ourselves.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Hester. We're gonna go to Notor Biz, and what are your thoughts on the prompts for the panel? What do you think?
Well, good afternoon.
Good
Can you guys hear me?
Like we can, yes.
Okay. So I'm going to begin saying that I'm a proud American. I was born in Puerto Rico. I came to United States very early, lived in Texas for a very long time, New York, Miami, and I've been around for a little bit. I have my experience living in third world countries. Okay. That opened my mind when I was there to realize how spoiled we are in United States. That's one point, and I'm gonna leave it at that. Now, I was listening to East LA and Iskander, and the guy from Finland. And for East LA and Iskander, their comment about the drugs. The problem that is happening is that the island of Puerto Rico is receiving an incredible amount of drugs that they've been coming from Venezuela. And that drug is distributed to United States. So it is a big issue. And I give them, I pat them in the shoulder for saying that. Now, in regards the guy from Finland talking and giving his opinion, I have to say that I have a lot of European friends. I live in Florida. And I was especially talking to somebody from Italy. And the other day, it was just a conversation about history, but I was baffled how she went in depth about the evolution of all these European countries. All right. These countries are thousands and thousands of years older than United States. We still relatively a very young country. They have gone through a lot, and they do have opinions. They have discernment. Some people can be socialist, some people can be just democratic, but it is not good to be close-minded, because we can learn from countries that they're much older than us. So I want to just leave that out there.
Okay.
I thank you for the space, and now I yield. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Let me ask you a follow-up question, though, because you mentioned you're from Puerto Rico, and there are substances. We got to use the word substances or rugs, just because of the let's keep the language TikTok friendly. But how do you feel about what Donald Trump has just said he was going to do about Venezuela and their airspace, closing the airspace? Do you agree with what he's doing? I didn't kind of catch if you agreed or disagreed with.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you, because the sentiment is deep this morning. As I was watching live videos of they're already releasing the balloons for surveillance, obviously something is going to happen. Now, how I feel about it, I feel like United States, because I'm an all patriot American person, okay? And it doesn't matter how I vote or not. It is the fact that I feel very fonded of this country. I'm a proud American and I want us to thrive. The issue comes from people saying, okay, it's wrong, it's right. No, I feel very strongly that we need to stop that because Puerto Rico is the port of that freaking drug. So, and it comes to United States, how many people are dying daily?
Okay.
And I think that we should go end this. People say it's about petroleum, others say it's about metals. I think that that's fine. But I think Venezuela deserves to be free. And we need to put a stop into this drug bridge.
So
that
real quick, you can't say that DRUG word. You got to say like substance
okay.
abuse. Okay.
Okay, so
okay.
I think it's a good idea that we put a stop because it just channels to our country. So that's my honest opinion about it.
Okay. All right. Thank you. I appreciate that. Let me. I think Iskander. Go ahead, Iskander. Get a final thought from you, and then I want to go to CC. But feel free to respond to what the young lady had to say. What do you think?
Yeah, so there was a lot there, and I only have a finite amount of time to respond, so I'll try to hit all this point by point. So first of all, you mentioned being from Puerto Rico, and you mentioned loving the United States. I would say, great, congratulations, but let's not forget about the people who've actually been screwed by the United States. So this also responds to East LA's point. What incentive do Palestinians have to love the United States after the United States has facilitated the annihilation of hundreds of thousands of their women and children? There's a reason they don't like us. They didn't do anything to us, yet we insist on screwing them over for our own economic interests. What incentive do the people of Somalia have to like us after the Central Intelligence Agency helped Siad Barre slaughter over 200,000 of the East Sak people? What incentive do Iraqis have to like us after we bombed the living piss out of that country and slaughtered again tens of thousands of their women and children and had our troops raping their women? I mean, what incentive do the people of Vietnam have to like us after we bombed the living piss out of them with not just air bombardments, but also with Agent Orange, caused hundreds of thousands of casualties to their women and children, and had our troops rape their women and children on top of all of that? I mean, we can continue and go all around the world. Just about every U.S. president to ever exist has been a war criminal. So with that being the case, great, you benefit from the United States, so do I. My mom was born and raised in Lebanon. And because I have only a very short amount of time to respond to this, what I'll say is that the U.S. Marines did save my mom's life by her own admission. In fact, she and I are both honorary members of the Brave Veterans of America. But do you know what that got those men? It got them getting bombed. You know why? Because they dared to criticize the oh-so-precious Israelis after they committed the Sabra and Shatila massacre with the phalangists in Lebanon, who were quite literally neo-Nazis. Like, it's not an exaggeration. That's not just some hyperbolic political statement. That is quite literally the foundation of that party. That's who Israel supported with money and weapons. That's why they invaded Lebanon in 1982, put the country under siege, slaughtered tens of thousands of Lebanese women and children. And it was those Marines, those service members, who actually tried to do the right thing, and they paid for it. And this is why you haven't heard about it, because Ronald Reagan didn't want anyone to know about just how badly he screwed up in Lebanon. When U.S. troops were slaughtering tens of thousands of Iraqi women and children, the Israelis were all in support of that. But U.S. troops actually doing something humanitarian, can't do that. The Israelis sold weapons to the Iranians, both before and after Iran bombed the United States. And Iran is another country that, hate to say it, they also have an incentive to hate the United States. Because the United States was at the time supporting Saudi Arabia, Saddam Hussein, we'll call him OBL to be TikTok safe, all of which were slaughtering Shias. So, and again, my time is limited. So what I'll say is that, yes, I too love this country. Like I said earlier, when Smitty first opened, I love the people here. Smitty, for example, is an American. Freaking love Smitty. He is a great guy, and a lot of people think just like him. But if people like Smitty and I and Palinetta in the comments, are we represented by the United States? No, because the United States is not a democracy, and it is not a constitutional republic. It is a plutocracy. We don't have ranked choice voting. We allow businesses to spend unlimited amounts of money on winning elections. Name recognition is huge. Controlling the media is very important. And if you have the money, you can boost your own content in an algorithm. And we can continue ranked choice voting, talking about how the Senate is like wildly overrepresents small states, and we can have that discussion for another time. The point that I'm trying to make is that, yeah, you might benefit. I could argue that I benefit, but I'm trying to look after people who are less fortunate than I am. And last thing I'll say, when it comes to the point on DURGS, the war on DURGS has been an absolute catastrophic failure. We need to legalize all DURGS. Let's admit it. The DURGS have won. And I say this as the son of a police officer myself. My father fought in that war. It is a Vietnam-type quagmire. It's unwinnable with military force.
Okay. All right. Iskander, I'm going to drop you, man. Thank you so much, bro, as always, for coming up. Appreciate that. Going to let Iskander go. All right. We're going to go to get the new panelist perspective. Cece, what is your perspective on Donald Trump promising to close the border to third world countries and the Venezuelan airspace being closed? What are your thoughts on both of those?
Hi, Smitty. I haven't seen you in a while. It's good to see you.
It's been a minute. Good to have you.
So I came up because I heard the lady below me speak on something. She seems to be very concerned about the substance problem in this country. I think we all are concerned. We have different perspectives on, what is fueling that issue in this country. I would like to lay down some facts first. It is a fact that less than 10% of the substance trafficking happens in the Caribbean since the 80s. Okay. It is a fact that 80% of it happens through the Atlantic Ocean, which is all the way on the other side. It is a fact that a majority of the trafficking comes in through legal ports of entry into the United States, and that over 85% is brought in here by U.S. citizens. Those are all facts. You can look it up, DEA facts, CIA facts. Here's another fact. Yesterday, the president said that he was going to pardon a literal substance trafficker president from Honduras that was extradited into this country and that had, I think, 47 years in prison. So what are we talking about fixing the substance problem? And we're, bombing boats in the Caribbean without any proof at all that they're carrying any type of substance, but at the same time, we're pardoning people who were proven guilty of substance trafficking, of money laundering, and of using that money for their presidential elections. What are we talking about? We can't be doing both at the same time. Like, come on.
All right.
Didn't we invite family members of the cartel to come and live here? El Chapo's family?
That's a good point. No tour. You have an opportunity to respond since CC came up to respond to you. So if you would like, tea time, welcome in. If you would like to respond, feel free. If not, I'm going to go. You know what? I had to mute you because you had background noise. So you should be able to. You should be able to unmute if you like. No tour business. If not, I'm going to go to Panda. Go ahead, no tour. Would you like to respond? Are you there?
Respond?
No tour. Yeah, with no tour. I don't know your name. No tour business?
Yes, it's not your business. I'm sorry. I'm gonna turn. Can you turn off the microphone? I'm not talking for just a few more minutes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. You're busy. Okay, got you. All right. Let's go to Panda. Panda, welcome, fam. What are your thoughts on Trump's promise to close the border to?
Sure. Can you put me on the big screen? Can you put me on the big screen?
Yeah. Every once in a while, it's a comment that just cracks me up. Okay, go ahead, fam. Go ahead.
So, I don't know if you know this, but Dan Historian and I, we do a history podcast, and our first podcast was about the Iran-Contra deal.
Okay.
And for those of you who don't understand, so this is the CIA, by the way. Okay. So I would implore you to go check out that podcast, but we talk about this, right? So Barry Seals and Freeway Ricky Ross, and the family that he dealt with. I don't know if you guys know, and Manuel Noriega, right? Manuel Noriega was America's money launderer, which is why he's in a federal pen right now, because he knows too much. And he decided, hey, I want to go ahead and do this on my own. And I don't know if you guys know this, but Bush Sr. was at the time head of the CIA, and that's how he came close to Manuel Noriega. But we were funneling metric tons of booger sugar into Black communities to pay for, to be able to fund and give arms to Iran, even though the Congress said, no, we don't want to pay for it. So in Black communities have been knowing this for years, and I've been screaming this for years. And it took until Freeway Ricky's Connect gets caught by a local San Francisco reporter in a courtroom. And he's like, hold up, wait a minute. Who's this guy? And why is he being letting go and let out? And realizing that this was a whole deal, and they gaslit this journalist to the point that he unalived himself. And so, the reason for the podcast is we talk mainly about things in history that are considered what do you call it? Those theories that everyone's like, it's not really real, but conspiracy theories, right? Because we want to teach people how to critically think. And so I think it's really important to understand that this is not new, right? The world's largest rug connect. I think the guy that was up here earlier, Excander, was explaining why the war on rugs doesn't work, because the world's biggest rug connect is the American government. They had people thinking that it was Black people that came up with how to make rock, and come to find out, and the CIA tells you this in their files, that all the way back into the mid 70s, white people were doing it. And doctors in South America and America were noticing these psychiatric episodes in white people using this strange rug, and come to find out it was rock. But the American government had you thinking that Freeway Ricky Ross and his people were the ones that came up with how to cook it and make it, and that was created in California. No. So I think it's just really important for us to understand that this is not new. And this is something that the American government has been doing for years, and they love to plant it on the Black and brown community. And I'll land my plane here. The reason why we are in the Fent episode that we're in is because of McKesson. McKesson makes more money than Exxon, and that gives you an idea of how much money these people have. Mom and pop pharmacies and little small towns across America, middle America, were ordering enough schmopioids to supply everybody in their town, including the children, for like 20, 30 years. Wow. McKesson was supposed to alert the DEA, because those orders are like, you shouldn't be getting orders like that. McKesson didn't, because they were making money off of that. And so ultimately come to find out that the reason why we had this issue was because McKesson dropped the ball. What was their consequences? A $10 million fine. And for you guys to understand how much that is for a company like McKesson, who makes more money than Exxon, it's literally fining them $1. And also, last but not least, the people, as I think someone mentioned this earlier, the people who bring in Fent into this country through ports of entry are white Americans, white tea Americans. The CARTEL it's a business. They would not put their product in the hands of people that it would be hard for them to track once they got over the border, which would be undocumented immigrants, and then have a higher chance of being caught. It just doesn't make sense. So I just wanted to remind you guys, all you have to do is just go to CIA.gov, put in the search bar Barry Seals, and it'll pull up everything, including the congressional meetings about this, where the American government literally admitted that, yes, this is what we did. And then last but not least, I think it's really crazy that we're out here unaliving people who we suspect to be rug dealers. But, we've got McKesson CEOs out here going about their lives as they've destroyed millions of people's lives. And then just reminding people the way that we look at this situation too, the reason why we look at the schmopioid episode epidemic the way we do is because it's white people, right? I want to remind you, there was Black families totally lost their lives because of the disease of rug addiction to rock, who got decades in jail for it. Ricky Ross paid a price, and literally was sentenced to life, while his literal connect was the American government. And he made what we understand is alone, Ricky Ross made about $300 million from having the American government as his connect, and Manuel Noriega as a money launderer between the American government and the street pushers. So look into the Panama War and look into Manuel Noriega, George Bush Sr., and Barry Seals. It's all in the CIA. And I'll land here. Barry Seals lost his life because the CIA gave him money to buy an airport in Arkansas. Arkansas was where he loaded the planes with the arms and the money, went down to Nicaragua and Colombia and picked up the rugs. And and he also agreed to put cameras on his plane. And the cameras would take pictures of the communist fighters in Nicaragua. Well, the Colombian cartel found out about this, and ultimately that was how he lost his life. But that airport that he purchased in Arkansas was purchased by government taxpayer money that was given to him by the CIA.
Okay.
And it's all here in these notes. You can actually find the note about the Arkansas airport purchase as well on the CIA website. So this has been going on for years, and Black Americans have been screaming this for years. Like, maybe we should just make this legal, and our communities will be better for it, and they'll start targeting us. And so again, I hate to sound like a broken record, but I really think it's time that this country starts listening to Indigenous and Black voices, because we're 100% at odds. We're always correct in predicting this ish because we live it every single day.
All right. Thank you, Panda. Appreciate that. There was a comment. I typically don't respond to critical comments. However, there was one a couple of minutes ago while Panda was speaking. So again, I'll say this. Some of y'all have heard me say this once or twice, but I'm going to say it again. This is a panel built on equity, not equality. Okay. So what that means is when folks are speaking, there's not equal time. I don't give people 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, 2 minutes, unless it's a chaotic situation. When someone is speaking, especially someone who the chat really vibes with, I let that person speak longer. And yes, I do let Black women and Indigenous women and women of color speak longer, because if you you've been on TikTok long enough, you will see that those voices are typically the ones that get silenced the most. So not here, not today, not ever on this panel. Issa, what are your thoughts about what Panda said, or what do you think about her point about how the rug war has been propagandized against Black folks, and does that concern you in this situation in regards to Venezuela?
First of all, regarding what you just said, that this is not a panel of equality. I agree with that 100%. This is the policy of your panel. Where I disagree with that policy is when it becomes institutionalized into the federal government. Then it should be, regardless of who you are, where you come from, what your ethnicity is, what your religion is, every American citizen should have equal access to expression and the First Amendment rights that we are all guaranteed. I don't care where you come from. On a panel, yes. At a party, at a meeting, yes. At a political advocacy meeting, yes. But for national policy, no way. Every American should speak equally, whether you're white, Black, Jewish, Muslim, all equal. Now, regarding the policies on when you talk about what's going on in terms of the drug problem, regarding the drug F that we all know what FL, okay? 90% of it comes in from the border, okay? Therefore, that alone, and even if it was 50%, even if it's 40%, that alone is reason enough to institute the policies that Trump has put forth. This, once again, will be quite simply the thing that will be the quickest way to destabilize this nation and force us into a much more repressive means of government implementation. Okay, I don't want to see that happen. We need, for at least for a temporary time, we need to place severe restrictions on our southern border.
Okay. All right. Let me let's go to Cece. Cece, what do you think about East LA's concern about, hey, you know what, our folks properly being vetted? We need to place restrictions because we don't know, what folks are moving across and stuff like that. What do you think about that?
First of all, I think that the United States is already destabilized. I think it has been destabilized actually since its foundation, really. This country has a real issue in not being able to take accountability for why and how it creates problems. And we always want to blame outside factors other than the factors that are right here in front of us. That we don't have a stable society, that we don't have sense of community, that we push things onto people and struggle onto people, and then we want to blame the outside. And then East LA, I just want to know, how long has the war on substances been happening? Because as far as I know, it's been like, what, 40 years? And what has been fixed exactly?
Go ahead. He said, give you opportunity to respond. Go ahead.
It has grown, forget about 40 years. Over the entirety of my lifetime, it has grown much worse. And I'll tell you why. And I'll say this in one sentence and it'll be brief. Americans have slowly and more so lost their individual passion and have resorted to the uses of drugs as a result of personally living empty lives. Take responsibility for your own life before you judge harshly against the systems and the policies of others.
You want to, you got a little bit more time if you want to respond to that.
Yeah. Again, I think, and I think it's really sad that you can't see it East LA, but I think the problem is beyond personal choices. I definitely think that we have been living in a crisis for a very long time in which Black and brown people have been attacked. And it is really sad when I see Black and brown people going against each other and feeding into what is being told to us. I would just say do some more research. Try to understand the situation a little bit more. And I really don't know. I have nothing else to say to East LA. I feel really bad that he can't understand the crisis that we're living. I am going to be hoping the best for Venezuela, and I hope the U.S. does not go through what they want to do. Our countries in Latin America, I'm from Colombia, have been destabilized long enough. The U.S. is directly responsible for our stagnation in development. And I really hope that one day we get to see that not happening again. Thank you so much, Smitty. It was really good to talk to you.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll drop you. Thank you, Cece, so much for coming up, fam. I appreciate you. So good to have you. All right, we're going to go to Panda. Go ahead, Panda.
So this is why you can't have conversations with people that don't understand the intersectionality of social economic issues. So let's take Portugal, for instance. Portugal, for a very long time, had a huge issue with intravenous drug use to the point where their HIV infection rate was extremely high. They had one of the most highest recent HIV infection rates, worst across the world because of that. What Portugal did was they adopted all drugs were legal. And what it did was it created a domino effect, not only in their economy, but it created a domino effect with things like prostitution, with organized crime. And then they also took on programs to provide clean needles and addiction education and treatment, and the numbers were shocking. One of the other things that we don't realize is Russia doesn't get talked about because Russia hides its issues. It doesn't report its issues and hides it very well within its state-funded journalist system. But they also have a very high HIV rate. The difference between Russia and Portugal is that Russia condemns its drug addicts and it doesn't offer needle exchange. And in fact, it ignores the situation. And so Russia is one of the places, I don't know if you guys know this, but when you go to Russia, you have to have a HIV test with you. You have to go through customs with that, because their new infection rate is so high. It's because they won't address the issue. So again, I think criminalizing addicts when we already know and have empirical data that addiction is a medical issue. It's something that we've been able to also track through gene expression, and know that it is also hereditary. And it's not as simple as just being like, make better decisions. It's also almost like living in a capitalist system that literally the only way that capitalism can work is, I think you guys don't understand, in capitalism, they're not, these companies are not making money off their product. They're making money off your labor. That is what makes capitalism capitalism. The main component of the money made is through labor and through literally exploiting that labor. Right. And so it's almost like this social economic imbalance of having your labor exploited and not getting paid properly for the work that you do, while the 1% hoards wealth, and you don't even have access to good health care where you can get mental health treatment, and also where people are also self-medicating because they can't get pain management because, again, they don't have insurance. They have chronic diseases that don't allow them to have good pain management, and also the depression that comes from living in perpetual and chronic and generational trauma. It's almost like those things all contribute to addiction, and you're sitting here pointing the finger, and not understanding the intersectionality of social economic issues makes me wonder why you're up here and talking about this issue when you don't understand that main component when we talk about addiction, especially in a place like America, and why it's so prevalent.
Can I respond?
Go ahead, Ethan. Go ahead. Go ahead, and then
Panda?
no tour, Esther. When y'all want to come in, just let me know. Go ahead.
Panda, you have advocated literally for my elimination regarding my right to express myself. You have said I am not qualified. You have made the false accusation that I've been indoctrinated. Are you out of your mind? I have access to every venue regarding every ideology by means of the public availability of these venues on my computer, in books, in newspapers. And you are making this false accusation against me. You are the one who is the propagandist. You are the one who is the repressor. You literally called, and I've never done this, nor will I ever do this to you to reciprocate. I will never call for any lessening of your voice to America, or for that matter, to the world. We simply disagree ideologically. But I'm going to say one thing. Your naivety is beyond, in my opinion.
Hold on, y'all.
That's what she accused me of.
Yo.
She accused me of being propagandized.
It's okay. It's okay.
I didn't quite hear all that.
Being propagandized. I'm doing
I
no
love
less.
when people without medical degrees argue with doctors. Let him argue.
I don't care. No. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Let me respond. Let me finish.
Hold on, Issa. Hold on. Let me let Panda
That's
come
an
in.
elitist concept. Okay, I'll mute.
Okay, go ahead, Panda. Because
I told
I was
you
getting
to let you finish. And I love that you think that you have any power over me as a Black American woman. It's not possible. I'm covered, sir. It would never happen. Secondly, I think again, your fragility is showing, and your lack of intellect on this issue is showing. Because again, I'm talking about social economic issues and actual medical situations, and you took that personally. So I think you're projecting projecting, and that's okay, but that's also not my problem. That's your problem. So again, I would like you to tell me, can you explain to me, the process of addiction on a chemical level? Can you explain that to me?
I'm not going to take the time to explain that to you because I already know what that is. I know what it is, and it's quite simple. Once again,
it's quite simple.
Stop interrupting me. First of all, I have never, before I say that, I'm going to say something in direct response to you. I have never once in this panel addressed any medical situation, nor will I, because unlike you, I am not a doctor. But for you to suggest that somehow you, as part of a certain group, are being repressed by me because I'm part of a certain other group. That has not.
Okay, hold on. Wait.
Finish, for God's sake. She's constantly interrupting me.
Okay. So
I just want to make it clear, Smitty, I never said that this man is repressing me. It's impossible to repress me. Again, I'm a Black woman. I'm covered by greatness, and I come from a long line of greatness. That's impossible. I never said you were repressing me. What I said was that you're not educated enough on this situation if you don't understand how social economics contribute to addiction issues, especially when we talk about America and its connection to capitalism.
Then let me respond directly to that issue. I will respond exclusively.
That's not my fault.
I will respond exclusively.
All right.
It sounds personal.
Exclusively to that issue, then. The economic issue. I will respond exclusively to that because it would take too time.
Okay, hold on. So real quick. Let me, because that was a lot. Let me go to
on to the economic issue.
Yeah, give me a second, East LA. The issue is, and again, at least for me, right, East LA, some of the things you're saying, regardless of your points or not, whether I agree or disagree, that to me is irrelevant. I'm acting as a moderator, right? Some of your language plays on stereotypes that are very uncomfortable for Black women.
Give me an example, please.
Just by cutting her off and not letting her finish, right? That's uncomfortable.
Initially, she interrupted me initially.
I understand that. I'm just saying, but historically, the problem is, listen, I'm a man too, East LA, right? We don't have a problem on this app talking and getting our points across, okay? Black women and indigenous women and women of color, they had a problem. And so, yes, if she's interrupting you, yes, okay, that's an individual thing, but there's nothing systemic, right, on this app of us not being able to express ourselves. And so I'm much more sensitive when we do it, right, because we should know better, both of us, you and me. I'm not talking about just you. I'm talking about any man that does it. I have a problem.
It's man. Okay, it's a man thing.
Okay.
All right, I got you.
Okay, all right.
If that's your opinion.
Okay.
I didn't know that was your policy. I didn't know that's the way you thought. Respectfully, I disagree with it conceptually. Okay. But if that's the way you think, this is your panel. However, when you give me the opportunity, when it is my privilege, I will respond directly to one issue, and that's the economic issue.
Okay, fair enough. No, that's cool. All right, let me go to Chewy real quick. Chewy, thank you for coming up. What are your thoughts about both prompts on the panel?
Well, first off, so are you speaking about what Panda and East LA are discussing specifically?
Did you come up for that? Did you want to come up?
I did.
Yeah, go ahead. I
wanted to say that Panda is about as spot on as you can possibly, and say hello to my friend Hester. Panda is 100% spot on addiction as far as it's such a complicated issue. There's so many, because of our medical care system in this country. We went from prescribing opioids for everything to cutting people off. So people who have chronic pain, and if you suffer from chronic pain, you will do anything to get that pain to stop. So you start looking, like she said, she's talked about self-medicating. People will start going out and self-medicating with anything they can get their hands on. So people with pain issues, are, especially people of color with pain issues, are blown off in this country, to where they may seek out things that, the big H word, or they may go to alcohol, or they may go to other things that, or they may go to that's on the street that's mixed with borax that will unalive you quicker than anything. And it also has to do with socioeconomic problems because they may not have access to health care or have a PCP doctor who can refer them to a good pain medicine doctor who can offer them other types of things that may help them with their pain. All that they're basically limited to is there's so much pain they go to the ER and they wait 8 hours and then they get treated like, well, you're just seeking out pain meds instead of being able to address their problems. So from what Panda is saying, as you know, Panda, I don't know if you're a medical provider, but man, you sound like it. You are 100% spot on what she's talking about.
Yep.
So I just, as a medical provider, I wanted to back her up.
Thank you.
That she is so spot on, and I didn't hear her speak enough on it. On the way that especially women of color in this country are treated when they go in with pain and how they're ignored. And I'll land my plane on this, and I don't know if Panda's heard of this study or not. There's a study at University of Virginia. I don't know what year the medical students were in, but literally 70% of the medical students thought that people of color had thicker skin than YT people and were able to handle pain better. And I'll land my plane there. Thank you for allowing me to speak.
Absolutely, of course. Right. And listen, I'm gonna stick on this point. Maybe I'm being a bit of a whatever, but notice how there was no interruptions to Chewy's same thing he said that Panda said. That's the problem that I have overall with this app. Again, let's let folks, women and women of color, speak clearly. Again, many are the experts, and so let's listen. All right, Notor, are you ready? Do you want to come in? I'm unmute you.
Host, real quick, I have to drop down. I just wanted to say that, and
oh yeah, absolutely, you good.
Panda, thank you for your knowledge. It was very. I hope people listen to you. In East LA, you might want to listen to her instead of just trying to talk over. And Hester, again, love you to death, sweetheart. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for having me up, sir. I appreciate it. I'll give you a follow.
Thank you, man. Yeah, appreciate you. Thank you for coming up. I like that. That was good. All right. We're going to go to, I think Notor is still busy. Hester, anything else you want to say? I'm going to let you go. But if there's anything else you want to say, I know Nichelle is not in the house and did say nothing.
You can drop me down. I enjoyed the panel. It was very, very good. Panda, I loved everything that you had to say. East LA, please get out of your feelings and listen to the content. If you wanted to rebut what she was saying, then you should have just rebutted the content of what she was saying instead of attacking her personally. But because what she's saying is right, and I can't wait to hear what you have to say about the economy. But yes, I'm going to drop down in the comments. Thank you, Smitty dear.
Thank you, Hester. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you. All right, we're going to let Hester go. And we are going to go. Did Nichelle say hi? I'm gonna pick on you because Lord knows if I had a peak coat on, you'd have said something. Anyway, go ahead, El Jefe.
What's up, Smitty?
What's going on, fam? Good to see you.
You know I love you, my brother.
Love you back, bro.
Right on. I just can't be honest with you, man. I'm not even sure what you guys are talking about. Let me see. Trump promises to close borders to third world countries. Amen. I agree.
Here we go. Lord. I knew you were gonna come up and say that. Now tell me why you agree, given that it was one person that did whatever he did, and tell me why you agree.
Well, at the end of the day, I think we got to put, like Trump says, America first. We got to put America first. Us Americans, we got to be first, brother. We got to stop. We got to stop thinking about all these people from other countries, and we could let them in. We could let them in and I guess vet them and stuff like that. But We got to put Americans first. Period. We have to.
Okay.
This is our
All right.
country.
Let me welcome Nichelle. Let me get Nichelle up. I had to mess with you, Pam. It's just so good to see you every time you come into the space. So I
I know,
couldn't.
brother. Go ahead, man. You know, I love you, Smitty.
Yeah, no, I got you. Nichelle, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I came up here to mess with you too because I did say hi, but give me a second. There's a nurse in here,
Okay,
but
you busy?
I definitely have something to say on that.
Okay, yeah. We'll come back to you. All right, let's do this. Panda, what are your thoughts on Hefe's opening comment of, hey, we got to put Americans first? What do you think?
Yeah, I think that having diversity within our communities and having immigrants in our country actually does put America first because it makes us a better nation. It makes us have more empathy and understanding. And no country has ever made it being isolationist. It's just not possible. It doesn't work. And so I just think it's really funny that it just always boggles my mind as a Black American woman to hear people say these things. And Thanksgiving was just 2 days ago. Thanksgiving, a holiday that we were taught as kids, was indigenous men and women coming together with the pilgrims to celebrate a harvest that they helped the pilgrims with. And then only to find out that no, that's not what happened. Yes, the indigenous actually helped the pilgrims harvest and find food so they wouldn't starve. But then the pilgrims turned around and literally committed slaughter of them after being showed how to harvest the food, and then sat down to eat and celebrate that slaughter with the same food that the indigenous people taught them. And yet 2 days later, we're here on a panel and we're listening to people talk about closing borders and not understanding what that means. Again, we cannot have this conversation with people who don't understand social economic intersectionality. And that means not just on a national level, but on an international level. Closing borders is not going to put America first. What do you think that's going to what's going to happen to truck drivers who are transporting loads and supplies across the country? What about them? What about farmers who we already just consistently keep screwing over time and time again? America has never been a country that's been able to make it on its own. We even tried to isolate during World War II, and that didn't work out for us, right? Because we're all interconnected on a global standpoint, and we should be, because we're human beings. We should be looking out for one another, especially since we've got the 1% on a global level over here screwing us over, and we're worried about the southern border. I think we should be cutting off the border to billionaires. I think that's who we should be cutting off.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Panda. No, tour. I'm going to drop you because I don't think you've come back yet, but I'm going to drop you. All right.
Hey, Smitty, can I say something real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think, you know what? Listen, we don't have no problem with immigration. Immigration is going to be there. It's always going to be there in America. But we have a problem with illegal immigration. That's the problem we have. And there's a lot of our border policies that are not up to par, like asylum. Asylum is getting taken advantage of by a lot of people that try to come in here, and they end up staying here for like 13 years. You know what I mean? They come here, they go to court 13 years later, and they end up getting deported back. But they've been here for 13 years. We're getting taken advantage of.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, and then I want to piggyback on what Pat just said. But let me ask you a question first. Okay, because what Trump is saying is he's promising to close the border to third world countries. To your point around, hey, legal versus illegal immigration, right? Wouldn't it be fair to say, let's say you close the border to any country? Why are you okay if it's just third world countries?
Well,
Can I piggyback off of that when he's done?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead, ma'am. Go ahead.
No, I was good. Oh, you want Panda to go? Go.
Women first. I got respect.
I think it's really funny that you guys are so concerned with third world countries. So let's look at human trafficking, for instance. The issue is not a third world issue. The issue is an Eastern European white issue. So Poland alone, their Polish gangs and organized crime alone literally export 250 to 500,000 women into the SA trafficking ring, and that's just Poland alone. That's not including the other East Bloc countries. Child trafficking and women trafficking and ex trafficking is an Eastern European white man issue. But yet, when we see visa acceptance rates, even from these East Bloc countries, mind you, we just had a report come out of Bosnia that Bosnia was allowing white people coming into their country during their Bosnian-Serbian war and literally using Bosnian-Serbian citizens as target practice for a fun little hunting game that
we lost you, Panda. Hold on, Panda might have got a phone call.
No, she didn't go teacup. I think her internet just messed up.
Okay, let's do this. Give me a second, y'all.
Well, I would like to respond.
And then Panda comes back. I'm gonna mute you, Panda, but please, when you're ready, I'm gonna unmute you.
Yeah, when you come back, Miss Panda, let me know, and I'll be quiet and let you finish. But I'm gonna say this. Listen, the first thing is foremost. America comes first. Period. I don't care about third countries. I don't care about Mexico. I don't care about Central America. That's not my country. My country of origin is America. So America comes first to me. I fought for this country. You know what I mean? My grandpa fought in World War II. My dad fought in Vietnam. I fought in Iraq and Afghanistan. Okay? So to me, America comes first. We have to take care of our own people first. You can come here, but come here legally. Period. That's all it is. Just come here legally. Play by the rules. If you jump across the border and you're here illegally, I'm sorry, I ain't got no love for you. I don't. That's just me.
Okay. Yeah. So let me go to. I don't see a username. What's your username?
My name's Luke.
Nick?
Brother, I'm Luke, Luke.
Oh, my bad, Luke.
I'm not American.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm not American, but I just wanted to respond to what Panda just said, how she said that people trafficking is an Eastern European issue. That is kind of true. They do traffic people. However, South America and Asia has a lot more trafficking than Eastern European does. So her saying it's a white man's problem is just so wrong.
Okay. Let's do this. If she comes back, we'll debate. But I have a rule on. Oh, here she goes.
By the way, just in comparison, the Eastern Europeans are usually criminal gangs that do it. They don't really do it on like a massive scale. In South America, they have guerrilla communists and the cartels that literally kidnap people and traffic them. So you are just wrong, Panda. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm not.
Okay, let's let Panda finish. Go ahead.
Yes, you are.
No, I'm
not. Not only that, in Eastern. Not only that. One more thing. In Eastern Europe, they're not all good. They're not. Wait.
Why are your words?
One more thing. In Eastern.
Why are your words?
So real quick, Luke. Let's let Panda respond to your first.
Go on. I want to hear this.
Why are your words touching my words? Thank you. Appreciate
it. Let's let Panda respond to your first claim.
So again, I would like to point out that again, Poland alone exports 250 to 500,000 people within the child trafficking and female trafficking SA issue. In America, the actual human trafficking rings are run by Russians and East Bloc white men who are in organized crime. The people that outstay their visas the most, the largest group that overstays their visas the most here, but they're allowed to fly under the radar because they are white, are Eastern European and white European
That's
people.
not true. It's Chinese.
Okay, so again,
let's let Panda finish.
I just want to make a point. Chewy sat up here. Chewy sat up here and said whatever he said, and you guys didn't agree with that, and it was silence.
Mm-hmm.
It was silence.
That's why I pointed it out.
A black woman comes up here and speak. You guys fragility shows. If I'm wrong, And if I don't know what I'm talking about, then line up on the starting line with me and don't give yourself a head start, and we'll see who wins the race. If you're so confident as a man that I'm a liar and that I'm wrong and that my facts are wrong, then just go ahead and line up on the line with me head to toe, and we can start this race together at the same time and see who finishes first. If you're not scared. Okay, if you're not scared, then you will keep your mouth shut and let me finish what I have to say and then prove and show empirical data to show it. So again, I would just like to say, because I really hate being called a liar, we have empirical data, right, that shows us of these numbers. I'm not just pulling things out of my ass. And I would like to say that the man below me, right, the man below me, I would like to see your empirical data. Please just show me the empirical data and shut me up.
Well, first and foremost, if I may respond.
Hold on, real quick, Happy.
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you come in because I think she's responding to Luke. So let me. East LA, you didn't get chewed out, bro. That was me just telling you how I run my panel, man. I wouldn't chew you out like that. Let me go to Luke. Go ahead, Luke. Your response to Panda. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll respond to her in 1 second. What I was going to say before she cut me off is the way that I can already call out your BS is with Eastern European trafficking, they don't organ harvesting. South America and Asia, it's a massive problem with organ harvesting. Secondly, I'd love to know where you're getting this 200,000 stat from, because I'm looking at the Home Affairs for European Commission, and they said that in the whole of the European Union, there was 10,793 in 2023. So where are you getting 200,000 from when just under 11,000 for the whole of the EU?
Okay,
I would love to know that stat, please.
Your response, Panda, and then I want to go to Hefe because Hefe. Yeah.
By the way,
So
just so she doesn't think I'm lying. Here you go. This is European Commission. This is where I pulled the stat from.
Right. I think it's really funny that we take anything that comes out of the European Union as unbiased and factual, right? When they're out here supporting wars against humanity, and they're literally the ones themselves contributing. So we have to use unbiased sources that are literally unbiased, right? That are not connected to any country or any union. And that's how we track and we properly get numbers. Because when we track numbers from countries, especially white colonizing countries, we can't trust those numbers.
There you go.
They're not legit, right? So again, this is just so concerning to me that anyone in their right mind would believe that out of Europe in 2023, only 10,000 women were trafficked. When we have Poland themselves telling us that the issues that they have with their actual organized crime involves out of their country alone, the people that are involved in organized crime on a global scale, their organized crime is trafficking globally between 250 to 500,000 women globally. Now, secondly, I think it's really funny that we use EU numbers, right? And they say 10,000 when we know on a global scale already, especially in America alone, that there's not even a tracking component for missing Indigenous women. We literally do not know how many Indigenous women go missing every year because there's no tracking system for them. We also know, and I suspect that actually if we had a tracking system, we would see that the numbers of Indigenous women and Black women that go missing, because currently right now it's Black women that go missing at the highest number at a really disproportionate level here in this country alone. I thought if we have a tracking system for Indigenous women, I think that they would be very, very parallel, close in numbers. We also know that there's not a legit tracking system when it comes to these numbers and other places, as well as in Europe. Last but not least, the organ trafficking, I really think it's really crazy that white people come up here and they push these white supremacist talking points about Asia, about Africa, and about South America, when we know Israel literally has an organ harvesting issue that they're not held accountable for.
Why are you bringing up Israel?
Because they are pieces of shit. They literally are organ harvesting, and they're organ harvesting from the people that they're oppressing, and it doesn't get counted and it doesn't get numbered.
So real
So
quick.
again, you using numbers of a flawed white supremacy system to prove your white
Okay.
supremacy rhetoric doesn't make sense.
Okay, so real quick.
Host, can I respond, please? Sorry,
Yeah,
one
like
minute
real
after.
quick, like 20, 30 seconds, just because I got to give Hefe time, to be fair. It's
Yeah, no, of course,
time.
of course.
Yeah, real quick.
Thank you. I appreciate it, Smitty.
Yeah, I got you.
Listen,
and then
man.
Michelle. So Hefe and Michelle. But go ahead, Luke. Yeah, like 20, 30 seconds if you can. Go ahead.
Yes,
Okay, so
I'll hold on, no. He said Hefe, not you, sir.
So no, real quick,
Hefe,
Hefe, I did give him like 20 seconds. So Hefe, I got you. Let me give him like 20 seconds. You got full time. Yeah, you got full time.
I don't understand where this woman is getting her documents from. But no, it is not. How do I say it? Chinese people are the most people that stay there over visas. I don't know where you're getting your numbers from, but China is one that overstays their visas the most. Okay, so listen, I don't know where you're coming from, but you are totally wrong on that. Chinese people do it. Okay, and for the most part, I don't know why you hate America so much. That's what gets on me. It bugs me. Why do you hate America so much? Why do you care about Poland and Mexico and all these other countries? Come on now, are you American?
So real quick,
Come on now, love America. Okay, that's my time. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let's not again. Let's not question folks' Americanness, right? Because we can all do that with.
And Smitty, I would like to say, in what part did I ever say that I hated America? I believe
specifically.
I never said I hate America. I said Israel was a piece of shit. And for your answer,
there you go.
America.
So real quick, y'all.
Israel's part of us, just so you know.
Israel is not a part of us.
No,
hold on,
not a part of us.
Hold on. Let's move off of Israel. Let's talk about.
And I just would like to address the issue about being American. So let me help you out here. I'm a Black American woman of Louisiana Creole descent. My people have been here for well over 400 years. My great grandfather. Okay, excuse me.
You're American, period.
Excuse me.
Hefe,
You're the one that put my Americanism into question. So let me give you a little backdrop. My grandmother was born in Louisiana, Jim Crow, Louisiana, in the 20s, right? Grew up on a sharecropper farm. And her father, my great grandfather.
Do you know who ran
Louisiana?
It was the French.
Yes.
The French ran Louisiana.
Please, can you please? You telling me about my Creole history is crazy, because you not knowing that Cajuns also came from Arcadia to literally escape persecution by the French Canadian government and came down and settled in Louisiana, and also not knowing Creole history and that it wasn't just the French that influences our genetic makeup or our heritage or our culture is crazy and wild work. Last and thirdly, I would like to just add, my great grandfather fought in World War II in a Black unit that was so badass that other countries were asking for their unit to go out in front of them because they were so badass and so protecting that they had panzer units literally terrified of themselves. Okay. And that same man came back to America only to have his GI Bill application denied. And then after his GI application was denied, because he saved up money and himself brought a chunk of land in Louisiana that actually happened to be profitable and more profitable than the white farms around him. And they decided that they were going to try to intimidate him and make him sell his farm to them for pennies on the dollar. And my great grandfather refused. And what happened? My grandmother at the age of 5 came out one morning to find my great grandfather strange fruited from a fucking tree. So again, when you question someone's Americanism, and if I love this country, I'm a Black American woman.
You ain't black. Look at your skin color.
Okay, no,
You're white.
So the fact that you don't know, that Black Americans come in different sizes is crazy.
We're not allowing that.
It's crazy to me. But I just want to end here. expecting Americans to have this, Black Americans to have this diehard allegiance to America and not understanding the complicated relationship of being Black American and having love for your country, but also having disdain for it, but also being a Black American woman and being able to look at other marginalized groups like people in Palestine, people in South America, and seeing the intersectionality and looking into the mirror and seeing their faces and yours is not a bad thing. It literally makes me a better human being that makes this world a better place to live for everyone, because America should not be the only place where people can just live comfortably and not have to worry about their child being unalived by a missile in their fucking bed because some other country, some other people from Eastern Europe decided that that land is theirs and used
Oh my
British
God.
and American troops to fucking take that land
Panda,
and
you're so
continue to
uneducated,
oppress
man.
them for 80
Hold on,
years.
y'all. Hold on. So real quick, hold on, because it's Michelle's time. We can then Queen D and then Wally. Please respect the order. I do not like over talking. I already told y'all my rules. Everybody, okay? I run an equitable, not an equal panel. Okay, that means some folks can go longer than others depending on what they're talking about. Now let me go to Michelle because it was Michelle's turn, and then I'm gonna go to Queen. I'm gonna give you an opportunity. Wally, I'm gonna give Wally an opportunity. And he said, I know you have been patiently waiting. I have to give you that. So we're gonna go Michelle, Queen, Wally, East LA. Okay, Michelle, I know you want to come in. We have to let Hefe go. Again, another rule, let's not question each other's race, religion, ethnicity, okay, nationality. That is highly uncomfortable and will not be tolerated. Anybody. I don't care who it is. Go ahead, Michelle.
By the way, I did say hi as soon as I stepped into the room, fam.
I didn't see it.
You always got, listen, anyway.
Go ahead.
Okay, if I wasn't sitting up in this hospital, I'd let you have it. Real quick mod announcement. There's 255 people in here, and this always disturbs me, Smitty, how there's only 134 shares. Even if every single person shared the live with just one person, we would have more shares than that. Like, come on, y'all. This is an incredibly important conversation to have, in my opinion, and we can do better than that. And let's also get the likes up. It's really important that we continue to do that. So I'm not gonna, because he's not up on the panel anymore. But I'm gonna address. I'm gonna address a that's a common theme, right? This whole idea of America first. And there were certain. Thank you, Ronnie. There are certain people that subscribe to that to me, right? But the first thing I thought of is where, especially in this administration, where's the America First thing, right? When you're okay, literally okay, with cutting SNAP benefits off to millions upon millions of people. You're okay with letting tax subsidies subside for insurance here in literally 30 days. Where's the America First with that? Where's the America First with the economy where it is right now and the job market? Like, so many people holler, America first, don't you love America? But America doesn't love us at all, right? So I just wanted to point that out. The second thing I wanted to say was, as soon, and I do mean as soon, Smitty, as I saw that the alleged shooter was from Afghanistan, I knew Trump was gonna run with this, and it was heartbreaking. I literally said out loud, my daughter and I were literally watching this on TV, and I literally said out loud, oh my gosh, they're about to come for every single solitary, person of Middle Eastern descent or Muslim. They're going to come for everybody, and it's going to be ridiculous. I knew the second that it was announced for that. And Wally's up here. I know Wally can really kind of speak to this as well. Hi, Wally. And hi, Panda. I know he can speak to this as well about how incredibly impactful that is on those communities and his ridiculously dramatic, response. And I would love to hear Wally kind of break down who that person actually was and how suspect that was to take that opportunity. This wasn't some just random person from Afghanistan. He's worked with the American government, which kind of goes back to the whole sentiment of, America first, and to the tune of isolating us from everyone else. It's problematic, and we're seeing it play out in real time. So anybody who says America first, I would be like, are you looking at the state of America right now? What is this administration doing at all that shows that it is America first?
All
When
right.
they say exclude everyone else, that makes no sense to me.
Okay. Now, thank you for that, Michelle. Queen D, welcome to the panel. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, hi. I am of a Somali descent, and I live in America, and I love America, so you know. But I think Trump have a very special place for people from my ethnicity, and I love that, because what he's doing basically is he can't understand someone who looks black, who happens to have the ability to want to do something or be something. The reason Somalis are here, not necessarily my family, because we came from the 80s, but in the 90s, Somalis started to come as refugees. If you remember, there was something called the Cold War, and that is something that is finished and done with now. But what used to be that the USSR, the Soviet Union, used to have people and countries and put their puppet so they can be communist. And America came to my country before the Cubans and the Russians tried to persuade our tyrant to be communist, which he did. And everything was the government's owned and whatever. And all of a sudden he changed his mind. Actually, they probably didn't pay him whatever they were saying that they were paying. So he changed to America, and America took him, and he stayed on top until the Cold War finished. And then what happened is, there was a void and he collapsed. And then the Civil War, everybody is not going to trust anybody anymore. So the Civil War started, and it still was fueled by outsiders. And that's why we're here. So if it wasn't for that, I would have been somewhere in Mogadishu enjoying the sun and being myself, and I will be progressing my country. But the thing is, you cannot meddle with other people's countries, and then when they come to next door to you, act like, oh, they are stealing. Trump stole from charities, people, from charities to buy stuff to himself, and he's a rich man, and he was convicted by the New York courts, and he had to take some money back. Whatever was left in the funds, he took it and gave it 300,000 back to some of those things. He is banned from having any kind of charitable organization because he's a thief, convicted. But he's 7 or 20 people who happen to be in thousands of people did something, so we all are guilty now. He's a felon. What are you guys talking about? I don't care. If he wants to take me to Somalia, I'm okay with it. I don't care. But I'm saying I'm going to fight nail and tooth in court if he tried to strip me from my, and I'm talking to Stephen Miller, straight up. I'm going to take you to court. It's unconstitutional. And I can take you to court and win, and then get some kind of money as a reward for my pain and suffering, if you know what I mean. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for that, Queen. A very strong statement. Before I go to Wally, I have a question for whoever wants to take this on the panel. And then if you want to obviously opine in the chat, definitely feel free. Do you guys have a problem with the term third world countries? I put it in quotes because I have a problem with it, but I want to know, maybe I'm being overly sensitive about it, but do y'all have a problem with that term?
No, I don't. But Skid Row in LA, isn't that third world too?
I have a problem with it. It 100%, because the reason why I have a problem with it, Smitty, is because the terms and and what quantifies as a third world country are being set by white men in a white supremacy system, right? So I have a huge issue with that. It's literal imperialism and colonization to think that your way of living is first world and top notch. It's literal white tea supremacy. No country is third world. Every country has amazing things to offer culturally, and in their people, and in white men in the 1% going around and being able to say which countries are first world and which countries are third world, is the same thing to me as racism of white men deciding what race is and who the people are and who quantifies as that race. And last but not least, I just want to make a point, Smitty, that guy that brought up the EU statistics, I want to make a point that was registered victims. That was registered victims. That's why I always say, look at your sources and understand what you're reading. because registered victims is only the ones that they know about, which is why it's only 10,000, because we know that SA trafficking and human trafficking is not something that we literally track properly or have a really great way of trafficking of tracking. And to think that only 10,000 people were trafficked in the EU in 2023 is literally, if you believe that, then I have an air conditioned home in the North Pole to sell you for free.
Yeah.
I
All
wanted
right.
to
Let me.
read real quick to
No.
what Panda said about the
Oh,
third world, real
go ahead.
quick, just to that specific part. I think it's incredibly problematic, and I very much appreciate that you put it in quotes and kind of set the stage with that question. I think that in and of itself could be alive all by itself. I think it's a phenomenal question, because if we close our eyes and we think stereotypically, okay, I'm air quoting that, what a third world country has been described as, we all know what that looks like. All right, it's black and brown countries. 1000%. It's black and brown countries, 1000%. And just like beauty standards, like Panda was talking about, and racial standards have been set, by rich white men, right? Who's to say what is quote unquote a third world country? And actually, if you look at what quote unquote makes a third world country, again, I'm air quoting here for the sake of this conversation, America would qualify. So there's that.
Okay. Thank you, Nichelle. Let me go to Wally. Wally, how you doing, man? Hope you're doing well.
Can I say something? America is a beautiful country. I love it. I am not against anything that is American. This is a country that gave me a lot, and I love it, and I want to give back. But there are places, like I went with my kids to Los Angeles, and then I saw stuff there that is not in the tourism brochures, like Skid Row, or the people talking to the trash bin, and my kids are asking me, what the heck is that? And we live in America too, but that is not the America we live in. So there are places in America that looks like third world country. I think Bush or whoever went to Israel and Trump should maybe take some of that money they give to Israel and give it to these people, because these are your people. Israel is never your people. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you. Unfortunately, we don't tolerate any shaming of the city of Los Angeles on this live. Sorry. I'm joking. But let me go to Wally. Go ahead, Wally. What do you think?
Hey, Smitty, I have a lot to add, but I need 30 seconds. I'm in a checkout line, so why don't
Oh,
you
yeah.
just go to the next person?
You're good. Let me go to Dr. Emmy, then East LA. Dr. Emmy, what do you think about the prompts? What's your opinion? Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you may be.
Good afternoon. All right. Trump promises to what are the third world countries? Well, I have my own personal bias over this. You can agree to disagree. I do believe that there is an insidious plan, not only on a national level, but on an international level. This is going across the whole globe. There is a huge movement to change things to the way they were before we had the civil rights movement. It's about the birth rate. It's definitely about the birth rate. And we really need to keep our focus on things. As far as Venezuela is concerned, it's about their oil reserves. They are categorized as the highest oil reserve around. And because of that reason, the United States is extremely interested in acquiring those oil reserves at any cost. So they just happen to have a particular person who's interested in overturning the government over there, which is Maria Corina Machado, if I'm saying that correctly. All right, who fled because she lost. But she's been working very closely with Trump. The moment that she won the Nobel Peace Prize, which really, quite honestly, many of them were in opposition of, but it was given to her for unknown reasons. But when you start examining all of the things that are revolving between the United States and Venezuela, she has been, since 2020, she's been in alignment with Israel. Okay, she signed a cooperation document, okay, with their party. totally endorsing them in whatever they were doing. So there is a huge connection, and people they're missing the boat in looking at what the connection is. There's a huge connection between the United States, Israel, and now Venezuela, because Israel has a tendency of wanting to ride on the coat skirts of the United States. So they provide the military sources, they provide all of the financial support, and they've been bleeding us dry for many years, for decades. They've acquired over $300 billion worth of funding that goes towards their economy and their military defense. With that being said, they have gained a tremendous amount of power, and they recognize this. So what did Venezuela do? For their own benefit, or for her own benefit, to overthrow the government that's there. And I'm not saying that the government there is perfect. No, it's not. Does not serve the people the way it should. But what she's bringing in is another far right movement into Venezuela.
Okay.
All right. Built on Zionism.
All right.
And I just wanted to say one more thing before I move on to someone else. I wish everyone would stop referring to America. America is a very antiquated state of mind. America refers to what we would say lands in the Western Hemisphere. That was before civil rights. That was before we became the 50 states, okay, plus the DC area that consist of federal districts. This government wants to refer back to the America. So we do not belong to America. We belong to the United States. If you refer yourself to being part of America, that means you are in alignment with their ideology that white supremacy should return.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Dr. Emmett. Let me go to Wally. How you doing, brother? I know you said I promised you, but we kind of got out of
No, it's fine. I'm glad this worked out perfectly. Thanks for having me on. Hope you guys are doing well. Also, everybody, please share the live. The only reason I'm on here is because Nichelle shared the live and I got the notification, so it does work.
Nice.
So yeah, a lot to add. I guess we'll just start regarding this recent attack on the recent murder of Sarah Beckstrom and the other National Guard member. First off, people need to understand that I want to just make this Afghan that was in the United States, there needs to be a separation between him and a lot of the other Afghans in the United States. He was a CIA asset, and he was a CIA mercenary that overthrew the Taliban. The CIA armed, funded, and trained this man to overthrow the Taliban in Afghanistan. And then after that overthrow, the United States allowed a specific number of Afghans to come to the United States that helped the CIA overthrow the Taliban. He was part of the program that allowed Afghan nationals to come to the United States after they helped overthrow the Taliban. Few months prior to this guy doing this sick psycho act, another Afghan was detained, was arrested after he was stopped by the police, and he ended up shooting the police officer. Prior to shooting the police officer, and this video has been resurfacing and going viral again, he yelled out, "F you guys, F the United States. I should have supported the Taliban. You guys fucked me up in the head." Sorry, I know I shouldn't swear. Basically, he demonstrated, and the reason that video is going viral is because it showed Americans that we are training these Afghan nationals. We're messing them up in the head psychologically to overthrow their own government. They're going through whatever they went through during training to start a revolution in their own countries. And then we think that if we can just send them here through a program, that's it. And we've evened things out with them and they'll be happy and everything will be okay. So it's very important to distinguish this man on this program trained with the CIA to overthrow the Taliban versus other Afghans that are literally just Afghans that came here, not affiliated with this program, whatever else. That's pretty important, because if we really want to, it's important to stop future events like this happening by starting to look at, okay, what kind of programs is the CIA doing in countries, and then bringing these people over here after they can't live safely in their country anymore. That's the first thing. The second thing is Afghanistan, Pakistan is not part of the Middle East. I know people confuse it. It's South and Central Asia. If I met an Afghan, there's, aside from them also being Muslim, there's so much difference that it's not the same culture. That's just something I've noticed, that people like to just like clump the Middle East and South and Central Asia together. Now, regarding Israel, I heard a few people say this. Somebody said Israel is part of America. No, the politicians that are bought out by Israel are telling you that Israel is part of America, and you're so brainwashed, and the mainstream makes you think that if you support Israel, you'll be cool and you'll be part of the mainstream, while the truth is anybody that takes a moment to look at American politics will realize the only reason our politicians are speaking this way is because they're bought out by a foreign country. So if you want to say that Israel is part of America, then you're simply just looking at the mainstream news, you're focusing on everything that is deemed socially acceptable, while not taking a moment to actually reflect and understand the way our institutions are currently being run. If you said Israel is part of America back in the 1960s, people would have looked at you and laughed, because even Jews back in the 1960s were getting worried about Israel's influence in the United States. So now, fast forward to 2025, you might think Israel is part of America now, but you're simply not looking at the cost-benefit analysis, and you're just going off what other authoritarian figures are telling you. So this idea that Israel is part of the United States is ridiculous. Dr. Emmy, the lady who just spoke before me, she's completely right when it comes to Venezuela. I will add, it's definitely, large part of it is oil, and then also because it's an Eastern aligned government with Russia and China. Another thing that's really interesting, and she mentioned Maria Kashina Machado. This basically, here in the United States, there's this lady, and she's been doing interviews with the Trump family, with Lara Trump. She's been doing interviews with Donald Trump Jr. And she's basically telling them, like, please, like, she's literally begging the Trump administration to overthrow her country's government in order to basically be propped up as a puppet. And she learned very, very early on that the second you start sucking up to Zionist interests, well, all of a sudden you'll be the chosen puppet. So what's really interesting is it doesn't matter what country in the world you're a part of. If you support Israel anywhere in the world, the West will somehow like you. People say that America is the global superpower. Well, Zionists run America. That's really how this entire system is operating. So that's really everything I wanted to add. Yes, I think third world is, when people say third world, there's a little bit of judgment behind that, and it comes with some added weight. You know, like people say the developed world, the developing world. Maybe that's a little bit better if you want to talk about the economic factors and like certain things, but still, I think it's problematic. I think that it's a way to maybe dehumanize these individuals a little bit more. But at the same time, like, we're doing what we do in Venezuela. I guess when I say we, I mean the United States and the CIA. The United States and CIA has been focused on covert CIA influence in Venezuela, where they'll, very similar to what they've been doing in Central and South Asia, where they'll pay for the opposition to overthrow governments they don't like and install puppets. In the Middle East, it's a little bit different, because in the Middle East, Israel hijacked U.S. foreign policy, and we do a bit of funding opposition and also just bombing the shit out of these countries. Again,
can I say something about the UAE?
Oh, real quick. Yeah, let me. Hold on, Queen, real quick, because we got to go in order. East LA's been waiting. To be fair, East LA's been waiting forever.
And I'll just wrap it up there, Smitty. So I appreciate it. Thanks for letting me rant.
Yeah, absolutely, fam. Thank you for coming up. I got to let East LA get an opportunity. He's been waiting patiently for at least 45 minutes. So we'll go East LA, we'll go Panda, and then Queen, I'll try to get you back in. Go ahead, East LA. What's your thoughts on what you've heard specifically in the last few minutes?
Very briefly, Israel is the most independently organized democracy in the history of all democracies. In 77 years, they went to an economically humble country to an economic Goliath. In another 77 years, they will make the transition from a regional superpower to a bona fide world superpower. Mark my words. Their story is the closest thing I have ever heard to an economic and a military miracle. It is as if once again, they are truly God's chosen people. Now, I gave you my word that I would speak about the American economy, which I will do now. Resources play the key to the solving of the American problems that exist as they do today. If we make a move toward social democracy at this stage in history, the reaction to that will be divestiture, which will mean that people who don't talk, people who produce, that silent majority of Americans who, whether or not they are Democratic or Republic, they produce goods, services, and resources to America. Those people will divest. You talk about a collective society, there will be no collective society if we do not have a tax base of productive Americans who faithfully support this country. If they will be forced to minimize their effect in America by divestiture in regards to over-aggressive economic policies by collectivists, this country will fall faster in a free fall than by any other method. The free enterprise system, the free market system is essential to the fiber of America, and it must remain so. And there will be no force on earth that will ever deter the American free market process.
Okay, thank you, Issa. Let me go to Panda. So Wally, I'll see if I can squeeze you in, but I know Panda's been waiting as well. Let me get Panda, and then let me see. Okay, I think we're good in the request. Go ahead, Panda. Your thoughts?
Well, I have never seen somebody pull their hair back in a messy bun and get down on their knees so fast before in my life. Free market is capitalism in America, and capitalism eats everything until it starts to eat itself. It's not sustainable. And last but not least, I just wanted to make one correction. I honestly, everything as you said, Wally, I totally agree with. The only thing that I would like to push back on, I think it's really important that when we talk about who runs this country, that we make it very known that it's white supremacy that's running this country, and Zionism is a byproduct of that. Because what it does is it does an erasure of the real issues at hand in America against Indigenous and Black people from a white supremacy system. So what it makes it look like is that it's a secondary issue to Zionism when it's just all one thing, and it's white supremacy. And that's the only pushback that I would have, because then we get into this dangerous conversation where people do not see the actual apartheid that Indigenous and Black Americans are still living in as a real thing, and they just think that it's just a Zionist issue that's happening overseas in another country, when literally there's Black Americans and Indigenous people still actively living in a 400-year apartheid. And that's the only pushback that I have. I love you, Wally, but I just wanted to kind of make that clarification.
Okay, let me just, if y'all please, no personal attacks. Okay. That's for everybody. Okay, so no personal attacks.
I'm sorry. I was impressed. I'm so sorry. My apologies. I was impressed. Might be.
All right. Let me go to Wally. I think Wally, you want to come in real quick, and then Queen, I think you want to say something. Go ahead.
No, thanks, Panda. No, it definitely wasn't. I appreciate it. Thanks for saying that. Definitely will keep in mind. And appreciate everything you've said previously. So, Issa, I believe it was Issa that was previously talking. It's just it's so laughable, everything that this man was saying. First off, you could tell that there's a little bit of religious speak when he's talking about, you can tell they're, quote, God's chosen people. So I think that there's a taint of Christian Zionism within this man, because it's clearly evident in the way he's speaking. That's the first thing. The second thing, Israel, it's miraculous how Israel has been able to become a regional power, and that's its goal in the long term. Israel became a regional power because Israel has, one, built nuclear bombs while John F. Kennedy was fighting them not to, stole our nuclear secrets, stole our enriched uranium in the United States. Israel has blackmailed our politicians. Israel has influenced U.S. foreign policy to push America to go to war in Iraq to take out one of its biggest enemies. Israel has pushed President Obama to commit Operation Timber Sycamore to train opposition to Assad's regime to overthrow Syria. Israel has has hijacked U.S. foreign policy to become this regional superpower you love cucking to so much. So this idea that Israel is such a miraculous democracy, what democracy? What democracy? The democracy that has put my family in fucking apartheid in the West Bank for decades, the democracy that's bombing the hell out of Gaza, the democracy that is literally maintaining an occupation of a population half the size of its own. Imagine America had a full-on occupation of half its population, 150 million other additionals that do not have American citizenship. Imagine that. And then imagine on top of that, trying to somehow make these people seem like they're heroes. Imagine right now you were trying to defend the South Africa apartheid government while telling Africans that what they're doing is such a big achievement, while people are literally facing apartheid because of this disgusting project in the Middle East called Israel. And you're out here trying to somehow defend it and saying, oh, well, they're really chosen. You can tell they're so chosen. Only God's chosen people are able to keep an apartheid going for this long and maintain being alive for this long. No, the reason they're able to stay alive is because of the fact that U.S. foreign policy has been hijacked by Zionists to allow this to continue. And I promise you, moving forward, Israel is simply not going to be able to last maintaining an occupation the half the size of its own. It can't last. It's simply not going to last. And I can't wait. And I hope it happens in your lifetime, East LA. I hope it falls in your lifetime. So that way, when it does, people are going to look back and criticize you for supporting apartheid, occupation, genocide. I look forward to that day. Thank you.
Thank you, Wally. Let me let East LA respond. Why East LA? What's up?
Wally, quite simply, sir, the people who you advocate for, in terms of Palestinian leadership, they have betrayed your own people. If anybody has committed a genocide against your people, it is H Group. They have summarily executed your people, repressed them, indoctrinated them, and forced them into a pawn ship regarding this current conflict. Your leaders, those leaders, this is what an IDF soldier told me to convey to you personally.
Okay, I'm sorry, Smitty.
Stop. Once again, soon all.
There you go, the idea.
Hold on.
I am telling you straight up, sir, as an American who is legal, who is loyal.
Audacity.
You're not loyal. You're lying.
Okay.
This is purely insanity.
Hold on. It's a conversation between Wally and Stella. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me okay, but so East LA, can you understand how uncomfortable it is to say that somebody told you to tell something to Wally personally, a soldier, right? That's uncomfortable.
No, I appreciate it.
You know what's uncomfortable?
Smitty,
Let me tell
because
you
I have
what's
a huge
uncomfortable.
platform. I have no idea who this guy is.
Regardless, listen. Regardless of who it is, that would be very uncomfortable. You got to hear that, right, East LA?
This man has literally called for the elimination of the Jewish state.
Oh my God, he's calling for the elimination of the Jewish state. Smitty, let me just respond back to this guy, please.
Hold on.
No, I'll be respectful.
Yeah. Let's let Wally finish. Hold on.
Okay.
Stay on mute.
Oh wow! It's apparently it's the H group that is oppressing my people. Smitty, I'll tell you this. Imagine for a moment, East LA, that you grew up in Gaza, a place that is completely surrounded, just complete concrete walls. You watch your family get bombed, and then you tell me that you wouldn't take up arms and fight whoever's on the other side of that concrete wall. You don't even know who they are. You have no idea who's on the other side of that concrete wall. You spent your entire life in this open air prison, and you don't think you would fight whoever's taking away your freedom? That's the first thing. If you think that Palestinian leadership, regardless if you believe it's a failure, whatever, allows and justifies an occupation and apartheid in the West Bank, then you're ridiculous. If you think that failed leadership means that you can subjugate people to that sort of lifestyle, then you're basically saying that it's because of the fact, and I see no difference that you saying because of the fact that Africans in South Africa couldn't get their shit together, that's why they were under apartheid. That's what you're saying. If you think any group of people deserve to live in those circumstances, then what you're saying is that you're blaming those people. It has nothing to do with the leadership. What leadership? The fact that one side is backed by a global superpower and the other side isn't. You think if Palestinians were in the United States, as long as Jews were in the United States, and we were able to influence U.S. foreign policy that much, you think that Palestinians would be at the same position that they're at now? One side is backed by a damn global superpower, and you're failing to recognize that. You're tainted by Christian Zionism, obviously. You're coming on this live to tell me that an IDF soldier wanted to relay something over to me. I have no idea who you are, so I find it flattering that you wanted to relay something specifically to me while I don't know who you are. That's another thing. The idea that you can you use an IDF soldier's words as some sort of evidence that what they're saying is correct is ridiculous. Did you ever grow up in Gaza? Did you ever see the apartheid in the West Bank? There are settlers that live in hilltops while my family lives in the valley. There are settlers with M16s while my family can't defend themselves. Settlers can go ahead and murder my family's livestock, can burn their olive trees. Nothing happens. Nothing happens. But if a Palestinian decided to do anything, let alone throw a damn rock at a tank that's in their land that shouldn't be there, then they're the terrorists. Are you kidding me, dude? Are you listening to what you're saying? Are you listening? No. And this is another thing I want to like the level. It's just absolutely ridiculous. It's you can't. There's no way you can rationalize things with these individuals because they're so propagandized that anything you say to try to explain it to them, it just goes in one ear out the other.
All right, let's do this. Real quick. I'm gonna hold on, real quick. Let me.
Just a mod announcement.
I know. I got you. Just okay. Just one. Yeah. 1 second. Let me. So Queen, I gotta let you go. There's somebody I want to get up. So Queen, thank you for coming up, Queen. I want to let you go. Okay. Thank you.
I really want to.
Hold on, East LA. No, wait. I gotta do a mod announcement. East LA, I swear to God, I will mute you. Hold on a second. Hold on 1 second. All right, y'all in the chat, listen, okay? I caught it, Smitty, maybe, okay, listen. There's a bunch of Islamophobia going on, and if you don't know it, if you don't know you're participating in it, then you're part of the problem. When East LA said an IDF soldier told me to tell this to you, Wally, and some of y'all in the chat were like, oh my God, Wally is so lit. Calm down. Listen, if a white person came and said to me or Panda or Smitty, listen, you guys are you're just misinformed. Okay? The KKK told me to say to you, XYZ, y'all would recognize that as racist and terrible. But when Wally responds that way, y'all are losing your damn mind. That's literally Islamophobia, and I will not have it. I will not have it. I'm gonna East LA. I swear to God, if you listen, you don't want to mess with me. Right? I'm in a state. Don't do it.
And it's a threat, sis.
Don't do it.
It's
don't do
a threat.
It is, sis.
Threat.
It is, and that's why I'm calling it out. So listen, it is very, very, very problematic. And if you don't see it, then that's why we have to call it out, because it's easy for a lot of people to spot black and white issues. Everybody would be up in arms if someone said the KKK told me to tell you XYZ. Shut up, El Rey. Shut the hell up when you're talking about silencing speech of Americans. Again, it's easy to spot when it's black and white, okay? But I will not tolerate Islamophobia here. I will not. He can speak what he wants to say, and Wally is very well versed to respond. But when he said the IDF told me to deliver a special message to you, yes, Shawnee, thank you. It's Muslim hate. It is. And if you don't recognize it, I'm here to point it out to you. I'm sorry, Smitty, I didn't mean to interrupt, but there were too many people in the chat that were saying some very problematic things, and we cannot let that slide. Just like we don't let microaggressions and anti-blackness slide, we have to stand up for our Muslim brothers and sisters. We have to do that as well, and we have to call it out.
And Smitty, I just want to say one thing. I just want to make this very clear as a Black American woman. For those of you who don't understand the intersectionality between our community and the Palestinian community, I'm going to make it very clear for you guys in very clear form, especially Wally, who I've been connected with on the internet for over 2 years. You can tell that IDF soldier, he can come see me and get it in blood. because ain't no way. And that's on me, and that's on everything I know and everything I love. Ain't happening. Not happening. Come see me.
I mean,
I'm indigenous. I'm indigenous Aztec.
Yeah, I'm inclined to let you go, Isela, but I do want to let you have an opportunity.
Let me have an
Go ahead.
opportunity.
Go ahead.
Number one, I am indigenous Aztec, Chicano. Number two, when I referred to Wally as you, I did not mean him personally. I did not mean him as a Palestinian. I meant him as a person who has publicly called out for the elimination of the Jewish state. That is a direct threat to the existence of the great nation of Israel. It is not that I have a problem with you in any way whatsoever. I have a problem with, number one, your misinterpretation of the true and proper definition of Zionism and your call to eliminate a legitimate nation that is recognized by every democracy throughout the world. I have never, nor will I ever advocate, or nor will I ever state anything that represents anything bigotry toward any group, including Muslims, including Black people, and including my own people, the Aztec ethnic Americans, which is what I am. And by the way, I don't appreciate being misidentified by people who make presumption, who are being presumptuous.
Let me ask you. So, Isela, what would you like to be identified as? So we have that clearly. Go ahead.
Sir, absolutely, without a doubt. It's very easy because it applies to everything, including my indigeneity. Yo soy Chicano.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that, Isela. Let me go to JBS. How you doing, brother?
I'm well, man. How are you?
Good. What are your thoughts? It's kind of turned into a different kind of live, but as some folks in the chat said, it's. I actually, when I first started the live, I said this is all the folks from 2023 were coming in, so I said, hey, you know what? We might as well have a discussion on this as it does pertain to a degree to the topic. So, what are your thoughts?
I'm not surprised that the conversations tend to pivot when you have dialogue that comes from an individual who says they don't advocate for a destruction of a people, but we'll get to that in a moment. I think as it relates to third world countries, if I'm not sure if you all touched on this, if anyone remember this phrase was coined in 1952 by a French demographer to distinguish between common people and the wealthy class. So it's a hierarchical terminology to put people in a hierarchy that differentiates them. So capitalists, and you have the common people. So oftentimes this phrase is used to undermine various countries, and it's not a term that we should be using. It's an antiquated term, as I said, established in 1952, to say that the first world countries are those of the wealthy and third world countries of those of underdeveloped and undeveloped. Well, who creates those environments? I mean, let's take a look at what the U.S. has done in various in ways that where they've overthrown countries. Let's not forget what they've done in Iran under Operation Ajax when they overthrew a democracy because the elected official at the time wanted to nationalize their oil. Let's not forget what they've done in Guatemala subsequent to that to overthrow that that country, that democratic country, to control their government. And let's not forget what they're trying to do in Venezuela today to overthrow that country so that they can have their own officials within the environment to run the countries the way they see. And so what happens when you do that, you create, you validate the terminology and you say, well, this is what these countries are doing. Well, you put these folks in power. That's what happens. And so no, I'm not a fan of that. And so in terms of Venezuela, I think I've already addressed that with you. There's nothing, I think you all touched on it, so I won't belabor that point. I'm in agreement with the fact that there's tremendous reserves in terms of oil that they can extract from there. So it continues to bolster the uses of their other countries' reserves except ours. I miss everybody on the panel except for one individual. I have no favor for that individual, never will. I think Wally said it best. No matter what you say to that individual, it strikes me as interesting as this person says that they don't advocate for the destruction of people, but for the last 2 years, he's denied a genocide that he can't define under legal authority, under international law. Can't define what our identity is and will refuse to condemn the G-side that's been happening under the Israeli government and calls them a democracy. And I think Wally, I think put it well. There's an apartheid that's been systematic for decades and has been proven by multiple and international organizations. Not to mention the most recent reports by Beit Selim that talk about the G-side, the apartheid, the cruel punishment that Palestinians endure in a report that was published last August, Welcome to Hell. So no matter what you place in front of East LA, it doesn't matter. But I'm glad he comes up here because he showcases the type of individual that we should not engage in, the type of individual that Zionism is, the type of government that Israel is. It's a racist. It is a genocidal government. It is an apartheid government that only cares about expanding its borders that are yet to be defined. And so I'm glad he showcases his hate. And living in East LA, I'm sure he doesn't get out of his house much, and and I know why. And I can care less what you say, what any IDF soldier says about anybody. They can call me out personally. Quite frankly, I can give a rat's ass at this point, and forgive the language, Smitty.
No, yeah, I got you. Let me. I didn't quite get
Personal
the
attack,
personal
please.
attack
Can I
piece of
respond
it,
to this
but
personal
yeah,
attack briefly?
real quick, real quick, because I want to summarize. But yeah, I'll let you respond again. I don't change my rules for anybody. If JBS mentioned you, I'll let you respond. But real quick to your point around third world countries, that's exactly why I have it in air quotes, and I do find it also interesting, in my opinion, right? If the United States says that, hey, most folks are Christian, a Christian country, then to me, if that's the case, then we're definitely the third world country, because if you go to countries in Latin America, countries in Africa, you go to Palestine, you go to the amount of Christians in those countries far surpass the folks here in America and how they believe in the strength of their belief system. If you've been to those countries, you know what I'm talking about. So I don't know what they're looking at, but anyway, let me.
I think that's because there's a we have to make a distinction of American Christianity, which is deep rooted in Christian nationalism, which is different from real Christianity. And that is a subject I don't think we talk about enough in America. And that's directly connected to white supremacy, which is why you have these evangelicals obsessed with Zionism, right? Because and they're Christian Zionist, because they're white nationalists and they're not Christians, right? What they are white nationalists that have hijacked the Christian faith, and they go against all the teachings of Jesus. Jesus himself said, I'm not in the church. I'm not in the church. You won't find me there. But the white nationalists, they use the church to hide their racism and their white nationalism behind, and they use the Christian faith to hide behind it. It's a specific subset that has nothing to do with Christianity. Is why when you look at other places like Palestinian Christians or other Christians around the world, there's a distinction. It's very distinct.
I appreciate that, Ben. Let me let East LA respond. Go ahead, East LA. You want to respond to JBS? Go ahead.
So Mr. JBS claims that I have no concern about people being having perpetrated crimes against, or having crimes against humanity perpetrated against them. This is why I dissent against H group. Sir, you're an American, just as I am, okay? By the words of the spokesperson of our own State Department, our State Department, the American country that we both reside in, okay? And I'm paraphrasing it, but this is the point she made before the world, Tammy Bruce. The entirety of every problem that has beset the Palestinian people is at the hand and responsibility of H Group. This is our policy. This is not East LA Bakery simply talking out of his hat. Okay, I agree with that assessment 100%. If you disagree with it, you have every right to do so. I am merely trying to validate why I believe that it is H Group who is committing the G-side, because it is H Group that showed intent by literally using every element of the limited power that they had. However, they used every element to unalive summarily everything that stood in their way for as long as they possibly could.
Real quick. So what you're saying, Isla, and folks are finding a problem with it because, whoever there's been no human rights organizations that have implicated the age group in any type of genocide, and I understand that's your opinion, right? But there hasn't been, right? There hasn't been any
Yes, there has
independent group
been.
to.
Yes, there has. They are, once again, the ICC literally put forth charges. Of course, he's no longer with us.
No, well, but real quick, what the ICC charges were specifically towards October 7th.
Yeah,
They didn't call what October 7th was a genocide. They said that it was a war crime, and so they put out warrants. That's true, they did, but they didn't do that because they labeled that a genocide.
But Schmitty, can you also clarify? I want him to clarify, if this is H group's problem, then how do you explain the issues before?
Well,
JBS,
can I please respond to Schmitty first? Can I please
JBS and
respond to
Wally, can
Schmitty
you
first?
please correct me if I'm wrong?
Okay. So real quick, y'all.
I'll wait for Smitty to.
Yeah. Let's do this.
I just wanted clarification, Smitty.
Yeah. I got
made
you.
a point. I want to respond to his point.
Let me let East LA respond to what I said, and then again, but just real quick on a time thing. I got about 10, 15 minutes, so I'm calling it out now. So
I would like to come. Hold on, East LA. I would like to come back. I would like to come back and address this.
For sure. So listen, let's do this, East LA. If you can, just a quick 1 minute, and then we'll be quick because again, I want to let as many people get in this last 15 minutes. Go ahead, East LA. Go ahead.
On the other side of the coin, regarding what you stated, sir.
Yeah.
The former president of the ICJ, and by the way, I give her all deference as the former president of the ICJ. She has accounted no plausibility to the G-side itself being established and prosecuted by Israel. No plausibility. What she accounted a plausibility to was the need for this situation to be addressed to protect the Palestinian people from one, but zero plausibility regarding a GC. Please see that interview. It's on one of the main, I believe it's either on ABC or NBC. Okay, right. There has been zero plausibility that has been established, and this is according to the former president.
I know what you're talking about. So real quick, and then I want to let I think it was JBS that wants to go.
Yeah.
Right.
I just wanted clarification, though.
Yeah.
I just have clarification of what he said.
Yeah. Real quick. Hold on. I got this. Y'all, I got this. So real quick, but the reason for that, East LA, is because there's an ongoing trial, right? And so the trial is to determine if has been a G-side or not. And so if you come out as a judge, right, and say and make your opinion one way or the other, then you're kind of prejudicing the trial. And so there's an ongoing trial to determine it. And so, yes, I know exactly what you're talking about. They have not made a verdict or a ruling on it yet. But again, there's an ongoing trial that's still going on. So that's why.
So can I speak after JBS for a little bit?
That extra piece of it.
I just want clarification from East LA. I just want clarification of why. If this is an H group issue, then how? And Wally and JBS, I'm not sure what the dates, but I thought H group didn't come about until like the late 70s or early 80s. So how do we explain things like the Nakba and all that other stuff before, and the encroachment of settlements that were agreed upon? Post 6 Days War and all of these things that Israel's been doing. How do we explain all of that? Like I just don't understand. Also, last but not least, blaming H group to me is like saying that Nat Turner was wrong. And he wasn't, or saying that Haiti was wrong and when they were getting their freedom from France. It's the same thing to me. And the fact that East LA is not getting this, like fighting your oppressors is not illegal. It's not terrorism. It's fighting for your literal freedom.
All right, so thank you, man. So East LA, I'll give you another minute, and then I want to let JBS, Dr. Emmy.
Yeah, in a minute. I want to ask Panda for her assessment of the second era. I would like to ask Panda her assessment of the second Arab revolt.
Oh my God! Before we do that, hold on. I'm so sorry. Before we do that, that was a huge misinformation flag. You're kind of like projecting. No. East LA, listen. I, as a black woman, okay.
I'm an Aztec man.
Be quiet for a second. If you would let me finish, when black issues are being talked about, black people should be the one to speak on it. When Palestinian misinformation has just been ejected into the air, JBS and Wally can answer you before you deflect onto some other
Thank you,
things. Because
sis.
Panda, to
Thank you.
Panda's point, that I thought the same thing when you said, just to reiterate, you said all of the things that are going on in Palestine are directly from H group, and I immediately thought, okay, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense because what about the Nakba? We have JBS and Wally here to go ahead and set it straight. There were multiple people in the chat that threw the misinformation flag, so we're not going to
You
deflect. Like,
misrepresented what I said. I said the
I did not.
entirety
I
of the
don't care. You
situation.
drag stuff. Oh my God, you drag stuff. I'm
You
not interested.
misrepresented what I
Let's
said.
let's do
Okay.
Okay.
this. Let's clear up, right? Let's clear up what you said, East LA, by letting JBS or Wally respond. Okay,
Yeah.
and East LA, if you feel like they didn't catch what you responded, I'll give you another opportunity. But again, we got 12 minutes left. Okay, go ahead, JBS.
Okay, thanks, Smitty. So, East LA's contention is that this is all a fault of the H group is misinformation for several reasons. One, let's not forget how many times the H group agreed to peaceful terms prior to October 7th, 2023. Let's not forget the unemployment rate in Gaza that was at 70% when October 7th happened. Let's not forget the complete shutoff of air, land, and sea accessibility by the Palestinians as a result of the Israeli occupation. And people argue, well, they were letting Palestinians come across the border to work. Well, when you tax them double and they have no choice, then what else are people expected to do? Let's not forget the ongoing onslaught of the agriculture herbicide that was happening regularly. The destruction of the agriculture by aircraft, sprayed thoroughly, regularly by the Israeli government to destroy any potential growth of agriculture. Let's not forget that when you have graduates that are MDs, PhDs working in farm fields, going across the border, working construction, that's not a result of the H group that was established in 1987, funded by the Israeli government up until 2 months leading to October 7th. So to say this is the H group's fault is completely false and is misleading to any listener that would engage in this conversation. Let's not forget the fact that this did not happen in 1947, 1936, during into 1939, during the revolt. This started in 1899 when Herzl wrote his first letter to the mayor of Jerusalem about their intentions and didn't respond until it was too late. And I can go on and on. Let's not forget the over 500 villages that were demolished during the first Nakba. Let's not forget how the Israeli officers conspired in the Red House to demolish all the villages based on a hierarchy of agriculture access, water access. Again, these are all things that East LA tends to leave out, or quite frankly, hasn't read about or doesn't care to read about because he's a propagandist. Like any propagandist, he wants to spew nonsense. Now, in terms of the G side, you're right, Smitty. The ICJ and the ICC courts will take decades to determine whether this is a G side or not, and that's their process. But here's the thing: this so-called interview that happened over a year and a half ago is no longer a valid interview because here's why. Beit Salem and physicians within the government, within the country of Israel, have stated this is the G side. Over 800 scholars signed a document prior to this being called the G side, said this is going to be a G side. Let's not forget that various NGOs have already called this a G side. Let's not forget Francesca Albanese, who's the repertoire for Gaza, has called this a G side. I'm not taking the word of a propagandist who sits behind a U.S. podium and says, this is not a G side. And here's why. Because the U.S. is complicit under the 1976 Arms Export Act, and they are complicit under the Leahy Law. So of course they're going to deny it. So until you open a book, until you read history, until you actually go read the facts and the various reports that have been published by various organizations, I'm not going to take the word of any U.S. official simply because Matt Miller came out after the Biden administration was done and said, yeah, they committed war crimes, but I had to repeat what the top down said. So forgive me if I don't believe the nonsense that you spew. I've not believed it from day one. You're a paid propagandist. You're not getting me coins today. And I get that. That's okay if you want to do this because you feel you need the extra money. but you're putting people's lives at stake. You are completely denying what's been happening for the last 2 years to over 20,000 children. Over 5,000 children have lost limbs. Families, generations have been wiped out. The complete destruction of a 140 square miles has been gone. No medical system, no healthcare system, no educational system. Can you imagine the trauma that children are facing today and for decades to come? And you're sitting here spewing misinformation and want to put the sole blame on H group. Have you no dignity, no pride? Nothing that exists within you that says enough's enough? Are you just here to spew misinformation? I refuse to come up on these panels, but I saw you attack Wally, and all of a sudden you want to come up here and continue to spew nonsense. I think, you know what? Let me come up here just for a little bit and see if this person has changed. Nothing, man. You have not changed one single bit. And I know, Smitty, you don't like personal attacks, so I apologize in advance. You're simply a coward who knows nothing about what's been happening.
Try me. Try me. Try
Yeah,
me.
no, I don't.
All
I
right.
don't.
Try me.
That's not what I
Try me,
said.
bro.
That's not why I said that.
Try me.
I said
You
you're a
called me a
coward because
coward.
you
Try
failed
me.
to tell the truth.
Try me.
You trust
Okay.
me. I'm not that
Hold,
guy.
hold. So,
Yeah, yeah,
no, we're
yeah. I'm
good. We're
not that
good. We're
guy.
good. We're good.
Yeah, I'm
We're
not that
good.
guy.
All
Smitty,
right.
Yeah.
Let me,
All right.
so,
All right,
quickly.
Smitty. I'll land on that, and I apologize. I went that direction. I did say that was going to be a personal attack, but I called him a coward because he refuses to tell the truth. I'm not a guy you want to stand face to face with, and I would never threaten people physically. That's not my job here. But I do think he's a coward because he fails to spew truth, and that's where I was taking that. So,
no, thank you, JBS. Yeah, let me let I
Smitty, I
think
just
Wale and then Dr. Emmy, and then I think that'll probably be the last comment, y'all. Go ahead. Go
awesome.
ahead.
Thank you. So yeah, a lot of things here. It's saying that H group is the problem while not completely ignoring the fact that H group didn't show up till like 2005 prior, and Netanyahu was intentionally funding them to separate the Palestinians between Gaza and the West Bank and weaken the Palestinian Authority, not recognizing that. He would also say that the reason that southern Lebanon is being bombed is because of Hizzi in the north, while not realizing that that group, the other H group in Lebanon, didn't form formed specifically because of the fact that Israel bombed and occupied southern Lebanon, and it arose from that. So it's like it's ridiculous. Imagine saying that a group that they are the problem while not recognizing that they rose up and that sort of violent resistance rose from the fact that they were being occupied for decades. And this is also one thing I really want to say. Did you notice that while I was speaking, he talked about how I'm advocating for the destruction of the, quote, Jewish state? Did you notice that he used the word Jewish state there and not Israel? This is where the Christian Zionism thing comes in. You only want to say, quote, Jewish state when it riles up sympathy for Jews. But you won't say Jewish state when it comes to the Jewish state murdering all of these innocent children. So you'll use Jewish state to somehow make me feel bad that I'm calling for the destruction of a very small religion. Listen to this. I think that Israel, which is currently occupying, genociding, apartheid against Palestinians, should be dismantled. And if you want to call it the Jewish state, I don't give a damn what you call it. I don't give a damn whether it's Jews or Christians or Muslims. Any group that's occupying and putting another people through that, their country should be dismantled. So you think I give a damn that they're Jews? I really don't give a shit. I do not give a shit. Oh, the Jewish state, you should be able to feel bad for the Jews. I absolutely give no damn. I give no damn. So when people say that anti-Semitism is rising, it's rising because of the BS that you're putting. You're the one who's calling it the Jewish state, and then you get mad when people start getting anti-Semitic because you're the one who's saying that Jews are killing kids. So that's another thing. So why don't you use the actual definition? It's called Israel. That project in the Middle East is called Israel, not the Jewish state. Cut that bullshit. Smitty, thanks for letting me speak.
Yeah, I got you. So I think, and then Dr. Emmy, I'll let you come in with the last. Yeah, I got you. You probably get the last word. But yeah,
It's fine. I mean, I came up only to say a few words.
Yeah.
But I do want to tell. I just want to
go ahead.
message out to everyone that, in the scheme of everything that's happening right now, we're losing our sense of humanity.
It's okay. It's okay, y'all. Go. So, Dr. Emmy, I was trying to say something before you got started. So real quick, I think it's important, right? Okay, to be to stand up for all folks, okay, who are marginalized. That includes Jewish people as well. And I think it's important to say that, right? We do not want anti-Semitism to propagate and to spread. However, I do think to what Wiley is saying, right, when we talk about why it's spreading, I think that's important to also talk about. And so it's not anti-Semitic to say, hey, here's why I'm concerned why it's spreading, but and at the same breath say I'm concerned about it. So I just want to say that, right, that we stand up for all folks that experience hate. Go ahead, Dr. Amy.
Del Rey,
Thank you.
I'm sorry, El Rey, this is your last and final warning. Last and final warning in the chat, El Rey. I'm calling you out. This is ridiculous. Stop it or you're going to get muted.
Go ahead, Dr. Amy. Go ahead, say what you want to say, and then that'll probably be the last comment.
All right. Well, I was going to say, I came up only to say a few words, but, it hurts me deeply to see the things that are happening in the United States today, but also abroad. I happen to agree that Israel in itself is a detriment to the United States, the government itself. Their ideologies do not align with what our democracy stands for. It brought a lot of hateful rhetoric, hateful actions that have consequences. We also in a very delicate time in our politics where people have to be mindful about who they're actually electing into our government. We need to be very vigilant about selecting individuals who have our best interest and not the interest of their own. And one of the exclusion criteria for me is anyone who is getting funding from AIPAC. Anyone who's getting funding from AIPAC should not be part of our government, especially in our Democratic Party. That is like, you're doing decision making on both parts, and you can't scale on both parts. Right now, we have to be directional. We need to be purposeful in what we want to obtain and sustain. And in terms of our social systems, yes, I do agree that we need to continue with our social systems, and we need to build on our social systems because that is what makes us very unique and prosperous. For the middle class and the working class, whether you're low income or whether you're middle class. The high income individuals will always yield towards their capitalist gains. They're not interested in what we do. They look at us as their mules, for their better good, for their gains and benefits. We're not their priority. So we need to start focusing on ourselves and be directional about what we want to choose for ourselves moving forward. And that means messaging out that everyone and anyone who disagrees with what's going on right now needs to get off their couch and get out of their job and make sure that they vote appropriately.
Okay. Yeah, I have a little bit of a different. So I hear you. I'm going to respond. And I'm not a fan of any politician taking any lobbyist money at all. However, I kind of go to where Panda said, where the first thing I'm gonna look at as a politician, you want to run for office, are you going to support fully marginalized people? Because if you support marginalized people and the most marginalized, right, Black women and women of color, then I know you support everybody. And so I think that my first focus with any politician is, are you going to do that, right? And here in America, like before I look at AIPAC, Kufi, whoever, well, I don't care what pack you're like, are you going to do that first? Because I do think when we talk about white supremacy, that is the biggest threat to any marginalized group above AIPAC, above anybody. And so I think that
I agree.
Right. And so I think that to me would be my first focus when I look at anybody, any politician. when they start, when they're going to run or whatever it may be. But anyway, I got to run, y'all.
All right. Thank you for having me up.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate everybody for coming up, even the folks that didn't agree with what we said. I appreciate y'all too. Love to everybody. Y'all take care. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it.
Have a good evening. Bye.
Yeah. You guys all take care.
Where are we? Milano? Yes. Yes.